What is up, everyone? Emily sucks and threw me off my game, so I have no idea what's happening. I guess we're live now. What up?
Sorry.
Fucking.
Mike swore, so I can swear now. What up, motherfuckers? It's me.
This is going to be my supercut of Izzy's introductions to Iskandar.
Izzy's supercut of introductions to Iskandar that have different hair all the goddamn time. Yes, I could not stand the fact that Kath and I had similar hair, therefore I bleached it. This is only the first of many stages of bleach. This is what I call my Billy Idol stage. And it is a nice day for a white wedding. It's also a nice day to start again. Welcome to Star Trek Iskandar. I'm really sorry to all of the people who have no idea that this is what I'm like, and for whomst I have alienated everyone. So if you're still around, thank you. What are we doing? Star Trek. If you missed last week's session, well, good lord, what a time you missed. However, I'm sure that when I hand over to our GM, Kath, she will be able to fill you in. But if you are coming in hot now, what does it matter? It's just glad that you're here. We are the crew of the USS Iskandar. We are Izzy, Mike, Kath, and Emily, respectively. It wasn't me speaking in the royal way. If I was some sort of Gestalt entity with all the crew of the Iskandar, I imagine I'd get either a lot done or nothing done. But, you know, I'd have a good time doing it. We are currently on the second session of Star Trek Iskandar, What You Are in the Dark, which is a spooky headfuck session as run by Kath, who just wants to torture us all. Another way that people have been torturing us is through the series of helps and hinders. That was a clever segue. And I'm proud of myself. I'm going to sip my coffee. So through the series of helps and hinders, you can spend real person cash Ola, or in fact the points you get for hanging out in the chat, as indicated below. There are many systems in place. What I will ask people is don't help and hinder before the session's even started, because poor Kath has to think about it, and it's very difficult.
We just got two more helps and hinders while you were saying that.
What I'm going to say is that as the architect of the helps and hinders system, who has either had not enough sleep or too much sleep, I'm going to lay it out for you. The series of minor helps and hinders are to react to a scene as it's unfolding, that you can't just cue them up because it's hard to insert them when you know that they're coming. They're intended to be reactive, and I know everyone's keen, but it stopped making sense. So just so you know that it doesn't make sense. If you have something in mind, try a moderate, because that's different. But other than that, I'm going to hand to Kath, and I don't know, probably swear some more, because I know people like it when I swear. Fuck off. Yeah, you know who I was talking to. It was Michael.
Hi, after all of that. Right, hello folks, welcome back. This is, as stated, session 2 of Star Trek Iskandar, What You Are in the Dark. Obviously we're already using the fate. I just saw Mike look horrified.
Because I was reacting to the episode title, sorry.
We both were, he just reacted a bit more dramatically.
I just saw movement out of the corner of my eye. Okay, yeah, we're using the fate core system, mostly. And I would love to be able to just segue this straight into a captain's log. Unfortunately, the circumstances mean that isn't really possible. Not even an EXO's log. No one's logging where they are. So I'm going to have to give you a good old-fashioned recap. The USS Iskandar has been sent on a mission for a joint operation into Cardassian space alongside a Cardassian ship, which is crewed and captained by Gull K. Elrad. I say the K because that first initial has been canonically established in the past, but no one knows what it stands for. To investigate a scene of some Bajoran ruins in Cardassian space. Great archaeological find, should be super important. The crew went down, they found like a decrepit old sort of monument stone. They're not really sure, it's being scanned and looked at. They found an enormous light ship. Everyone else is so distracting. We found an enormous light ship, which was way bigger than any other historical light ship, and it was all really super mysterious. And then they found a passageway underground, which seems to have led to some sort of centuries-old Cardassian facility called the Wayfarer facility, where they are now locked underground, making their way through a series of rooms in this weird underground bunker. Their tricorders don't work, their comms don't work, their weapons don't work. And they have just come across the living area where they have found, in and amongst various of the rooms, a large number of skeletal Cardassian corpses. And people are starting to act a little funky.
It's not really a living area, is it?
I'm so proud of you.
Okay. We begin our session where we left it off, right at the end of going through all of these rooms in the living quarters of the Wayfarer facility. We've found somewhere in the region of 30 odd, 20 to 30 odd corpses, remains in total. These are centuries old, all in the same uniform jumpsuit. Some of you have been more dispassionately than others going through any of the personal effects, confirming that from anything that you can find that, yeah, these are about 500 years old. Gul Elrad has given you the information that we're talking early Cardassian space age. And some of you have been reacting less positively to a room with a stacked pile of skeletal corpses. The passageways do run on deeper into the facility. You are still only on level 1. You don't know how many levels there are. And at present, you don't really know what the end point is. Power is low, lighting is low. Most interfaces you've seen aren't functioning. You may press on if you wish. So carrying on down the corridor, again you find 2 doors on either side. Stenciled above the left. Your comm badges still have enough about them to go through the translation software to say infirmary. And on the right, it says archives.
So the question is, which of these do we think is going to give us more of the information we're looking for?
Archive, surely.
The argument for the infirmary is there might be more records of how this started off, of people if this is something that's caused people to be ill, if this is something that's caused people to start acting oddly. To me, it seems more likely that information would be in the infirmary.
I need to cut in. We appear to have a muted Izzy. As in, muted. Izzy, you're muted, I can see on the Zoom, but also were you otherwise muted? Or is Mike muted you? Mike has muted Izzy on the Zoom.
Michael.
Could not have happened.
Hey, no.
Oh,
Right?
yep,
You're
you're
back.
back. Yep.
Great. Sorry, I tried to unmute myself a bunch of times and it said I'd been muted by the host, so I figured, I was being a troll. I was
No, if anybody's being a troll, it's me.
I
was spamming you with adverts.
I am so sorry. I did not realize I had done that.
Join our Patreon. Do it.
Oh, God. Like and subscribe. Is that how that works? I don't know how things work. So yes, there. One's on the left, one's on the right. Infirmary is on the left. Archives are on the right. And you're discussing the pros and cons, but Elrad is going to go. This isn't really an either or, it's just a first and a second.
It is just a first and second, this is true.
Elrod looks at Talandra.
What is the nature of Cardassian record keeping?
Usually exceptionally thorough, however, within this place, it's rather difficult for us to tell.
Very well, Lieutenant Strange and I will assess the archives and send Casey, Dr. Burroff to the infirmary.
Yes, Commander.
My commander.
Elrod goes to the archives. I will start then with the infirmary, because that's the one I've got written down first. You step into the dim-lit infirmary. It's quite small for something that should be expected to tend to the medical needs of approximately 100 people. It has a bed, a desk with a pretty dead computer console upon it. There is, upon the bed, another skeleton stretched out, is still in the jumpsuit. Beyond that, there is one door, quite big, metal, heavy, shut. Does have a handle rather than any of the automated open doors that you've been seeing. The air in here is a bit cooler. There is a faint hum emanating from the far wall, into which a bunch of cabinets are set. They appear to be shut.
And we are still devoid of, like, tricorders.
Yep, tricorders are not working.
This seems suspiciously small for the size of the facility.
It might not be the only, or even the major infirmary. It might just be an infirmary that serviced this level. I'm not sure.
Okay. What should we do then?
I imagine just go through this equipment, see what we can find in terms of logs. Any kind of bookkeeping, I suppose, that we can have power to get some idea of what happened.
Okay. I suppose I'll start taking a look. If you need me to investigate something, do let me know.
I will.
You do outrank me.
I do.
Okay. So who's looking where? At what?
Burov doesn't want to go to the buzzing wall, so they won't.
Yeah.
I'll go to the buzzing wall.
Okay. You're approaching the cabinets, and you realise that the hum is coming from these cabinets set in. They are very smooth metal. As you get closer, you suspect that there is, like, Casey's familiar enough with various technology. These things are still, like, magnetically sealed. They are powered. They are shut. They are smooth with no obvious apparent handles. And so it sounds as if that is the noise of the technology.
Okay. They're magnetically sealed.
Mm-hmm.
I might have a little, see if I can... First of all, I'm going to try and open it.
Okay. You've tried it, like, it's got those smooth grooves, like really shitty kitchen cabinets around the sides. You pull, they don't open. You'd theorize that something like this is designed for... It's difficult to say whether or not it would last 400 years, but if this is an infirmary, then they are likely to have things contained in that which would be needed to last.
I don't like that. But that's still answers. That's still information. I'm going to try and see what I can do in terms of jury rigging one open. See if I can interfere with the magnetism that's keeping it sealed. And
Using what?
Just my bare hands and my guile and my wit and my charming face. If I don't know, I might try and MacGyver something. If looking around, is there any kind of tools, implements?
There is nothing laid out. There is the computer on the desk, which is like pretty much every other interface you've come across. completely without power. There is the big heavy door near the cabinets, just handle. But otherwise, there's the skeleton.
Yeah, but
It looks as if, from your idea of the layout of the infirmary, that if there are tools, they're probably inside the cabinet.
cool. All right. Well, time to jimmy on up with the skeleton. Let's have a gander at.
You go over to the skeleton. I'm going to start using corpse because skeleton is probably way too comedic a word. Go to the remains.
Uh-huh.
They are old. You are looking at the skeletal remains of what you're told is a Cardassian, and you can see it having it pointed out. Probably those neck bones are Cardassian, but they're centuries old.
Dr. Burroff.
Are you muted again?
Are you? I'm not doing this. Hold on, I think the settings on so participants can't unmute themselves. 1 second.
Oh, so is Izzy been muting herself and can't unmute herself?
Allow participants to unmute themselves.
Self-censorship.
Michael!
Okay.
Michael, I honestly just thought there was some savagery at foot here. I thought,
Nothing,
I get it. My intros can get a bit rambly, but dude.
nothing
like,
of the sort.
I feel I need to protect. I feel I need to apologize to Michael now because earlier I was horrible to him in the intro, and then I muted myself, and then I went, "Oh no, I think I was a bit mean. I'm gonna unmute and just say sorry." And then I couldn't. I was like, "Fine, Mike. I guess it was a bit full on. No need to be shitty about it." And like I sat there in a bit of a huff.
Jesus Christ, people.
I'm glad we've come to the bottom of this. You should now be able to mute and unmute freely.
It's one of those evenings, folks.
However, I'm no longer sorry. That ship has sailed. I take back nothing that I said. Dr. Burrow, however, has no such meanness in them.
I think that's my partner about to have a shower and no one needs the background noise of a shower.
Yes, Ensign Casey?
Would you mind having a look at this, these remains for me?
Oh, more remains.
I'm afraid so.
Oh. Okay.
If it's too much, then...
No, I'm a doctor. I can do that. Just... I'm wondering, because if what killed these people was some sort of flesh-eating bacteria, it could still be live on the skeleton.
He backs off from the skeleton, like a little bit too sharply. I see. And
What did you see?
I know. I'm saying. I understand the thing that you are saying.
Oh, yes.
Is it likely to be a flesh-eating bacteria?
I mean, it's not likely, but who's to say what's likely in a secret underground ancient Cardassian research facility that even the Cardassians didn't know was here and is full of mysterious and scattered remains of dead Cardassians who died in suspicious circumstances. I don't know what the playbook is for that.
I'm afraid, Doctor, we rather have to write the playbook for this.
Oh. Well, I always wanted to write a book, but I was hoping it would be a dashing holo novel, not a book about dead Cardassians.
Could do both.
What do we have here then? Hello. What we got, Kath?
You roll me a medicine check, difficulty 1.
Kath, where are my dice?
Only God can help you with that.
Damn it. I knew my atheism would bite me in the ass one day. Where are they? Oh, there.
How you can attack your dice and unmute yourself once you're done throttling them.
I can't risk muting myself now, ever.
The trust is dead.
That's a +1.
Oh, okay. You can study the remains, and unfortunately, there's not really a great deal that you can tell beyond what you've already more or less figured out. They're Cardassian. They're, approximately 19th century. But it's really difficult. There's a lot of damage around the rib cage, but because of the nature of ribs, it's very difficult to tell whether or not like they got their chest caved in or if just time has eroded ribs. You do believe, though, that from the way that they are positioned, that they died on this bed and were probably properly arranged there. That's about, rather than like someone stretched out and got knocked into it or something.
Well, they're definitely dead.
Yes.
Sorry, I was attempting to be lighthearted.
Oh.
I'm not good at lighthearted about.
No, I'm not great at determining when people are being lighthearted. That might have been very good.
I don't think it was. I think I would rate it a solid 4 out of 10.
Okay.
But I would give myself a 8 out of 10 for effort.
Duly noted. So what have you learned?
Nothing new, really. Just feels like this is a place where a lot of Cardassians died.
Okay.
I have a feeling that we're going to discover the cause of what happened here, not by looking at the leftovers of the people, but by the clues they left when they were living.
Oh. So what clues did you find?
Well, nothing. I was over by the desk, and then you called me over here.
Oh. I suppose that was rather rude of me, yes.
I wasn't segueing into a great revelation. I was just...
Oh, no, it sounded like it. You're quite a good orator.
I don't think I am. I think I'm the opposite. You might be thinking of Adina, a little bit taller, dark hair.
I'm not.
We're often together. They're a good orator. They talk well at the things.
They talk a lot.
And if you talk a lot, at least sort of 3 out of every 4 words you say are going to land.
It shouldn't be quantitative. It should be qualitative.
I think Adina is a very quality.
What about the desk?
Whose desk?
The desk you were looking at before.
I don't know. I'll ask. Kat, what was on the desk?
The computer panel, but it appears to have no power.
Oh, a depowered computer. In a way, we were both looking at complex pieces of machinery that had stopped working.
I think we've done everything we can in this room.
There is a door on the far side.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Look over here.
There is a big, heavy metal door next to where the sealed cabinets are. It has a handle.
Oh, okay.
Lid on, Nancy.
Yes. Yes, I shall. He goes over to the handle. Readies. Reaches for phaser. Kind of realizes. And then just goes for the handle.
You pull the handle, give it a push. There is a little give, but it doesn't open. It feels probably a bit stuck rather than explicitly sealed.
I get my shoulder in there.
Okay. Make me an athletics check.
All right. -2.
Okay, I'm gonna invoke that minor hinder that was sticking around from Framework Puzzles as Casey puts his shoulder to it. And you know how at the beginning of the session I told you could regain that stress? Well, put it back on as you just go crunk. There is that noise is loud as well. That metal impact. Boing!
Ensign Casey, come here. Oh, don't move it.
Ow.
Oh, at least thank you. This is something I can help with.
Oh, it's great.
What you did.
Quite all right. I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, Burrow's gonna go around examining his shoulder to see, has he just clicked it painfully or has he full on dislocated his shoulder?
You can. It doesn't take any of your particular expertise. It's very apparent that he has just hurt himself. Like he's in some pain, but he's not injured himself.
Oh well, good news. You have not dislocated your shoulder. But bad news is because you twisted it this bit here, that's going to hurt. Yeah, that's going to be sore. So just go easy on it. Put something cold on it. I have nothing cold to put on it, but if we're standing still for long periods of time and you find a cold patch of wall, just lean on it.
Okay.
What do you want from me? I'm a Starfleet doctor. I'm not in sick bay. I have nothing.
I wasn't criticizing. This has been fine.
Is the problem the door?
The problem is the door.
Okay, I'll allow you to give it a push, but also remember that you do have your med kit.
Oh,
Tricorder isn't working, but they do have their med kit.
Oh, well, in which case I'll have administered an analgesic immediately. Like, I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I think we forgot because you patched up his hand last week.
Oh, yes, I did. I did.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. Forget everything I just said. Keep still.
Okay.
Okay, no. Now that's going to be settling in, but it's going to be a bit stiff for a while. So don't do anything outrageous with it.
I'll try not to.
I don't know what you could do. Like, if you see an old friend, don't wave enthusiastically at them.
Here?
Yeah?
I don't think I'm likely to see an old friend here.
The Lieutenant Commander? But I suppose you expect to see her here.
Also, she's not my friend, she's my superior.
Oh.
We should really try the door again.
Arcady's gonna shove at the door.
An athletics check difficulty 1.
Why were we sent here?
I don't know why the doctor went to look at the computer and the scientist went to look at the corpse.
Because there might have been bacteria.
Make me that athletics check.
Do good. I want Arcady to just fully punk this.
So do I.
Just
I mean, you
flick
say
it.
that. I think Arcady is more of a twig than Casey.
Casey's got a decent athletics skill.
Yeah,
Casey, what's Katie's athletics score?
2.
+2. What my negative dice was a 6, so
Yeah. Hit it, Budov.
Right, so with my athletics of +0, that's a -1.
Boing, you just bounce.
Are we sure this door is a door and not just a decorative patch of wall?
no, it is a door. I felt it move. It's just that we are being very. It's a challenging door. We could do with someone else. I might try it one last time.
I mean, why don't I help?
That sounds great.
Okay, first things first. Izzy, make me an athletics check, difficulty 1, to create an advantage of loosened the door.
This is the best scene that's ever happened.
Why don't we
As
spend more time?
a GM, I've committed. What do you get?
That's a 0.
You do not contribute to this situation in any way.
What are you, my father?
All right, straight roll. Okay, -0. 0. 2.
That is enough to succeed. You with Arcady there. You
Arcady was.
I was pushing the door. I was helping.
Arcady was there. You kind of. It's a combination. What your problem was before is that the handle is very stiff, so you kind of got to do a very difficult job of yanking the handle right down and putting your shoulder to it, which is a difficult kind of angle. And you're pretty sure that last time you just didn't when you went to put your shoulder in, you didn't have the handle all the way down.
Mhm.
Fucking doors, man.
How do they work?
This would have been a monstrous Saturday Night player with a fucking jump to get into play. As you barrel your way through, as this door comes swinging open, and you enter a long, thin, chilly room, very tiled floor, concrete ceiling, metallic walls with set metal drawers along either side. There are approximately 50 drawers.
Maybe we should go get the doctor.
You are the doctor.
Oh. Okay.
Let's proceed.
You step into this, the coldest room you've been in so far.
Oh, that's great for my shoulder.
It's good for your shoulder. But you also received an analgesic, so your shoulder doesn't really hurt so much anymore. That technically never happened.
I guess we're gonna start looking in some drawers.
You open a drawer. Skeletal remains. You open another drawer. Skeletal remains.
This, I don't know. Would it be technically a morgue or a mortuary? Which is the correct term for this? Morgue. I've been
Well, I
a
wrote
distant
morgue.
It is a morgue.
So...
You're right. I heard a distant shout. This morgue is. I'm gonna move to the very last set of drawers and open that one.
Skeletal remains.
It's full. Doctor, it's full.
I'm going to go have a look around. Could you make sure the door doesn't slam closed and trap us in here in an airless chamber? Thank you.
Stand in the doorway. Dr. Burov, what are you doing?
So there are the cold drawers. Are there any records in here or non-computerized documents?
There's nothing else in here. There is a big slab of a metal table in the middle, which is bare, but there's nothing else in here.
Then Arcady's going to go through all of them.
Okay.
Just in case there is someone who has died in a more dramatic fashion that's worth noting.
You go through every single one. One, you're pretty sure that they had their skull caved in. Like, the damage to that skull was pre-mortem. There are probably maybe half a dozen with that kind of visible, obvious, even after all this time, head wounds. The others, probably the damage is from injuries sustained. Some, it's difficult to tell. Nothing else particularly stands out.
But Ensign Casey is correct that every drawer is full.
Every single drawer has skeletal remains, which pretty much all of them match. They're all in those jumpsuits, if they're in anything. And none of them appear to... When I say none of them appear to not be Cardassian, like, you haven't done I assume you've not done a full examination of every single one, but none of them leap out at you for you to have any suspicions for them to not be Cardassian.
No, yes, you are quite correct, Ensign Casey.
suppose at least now we know where everyone went. From the habitats, I mean.
We should
Get back to the others.
Cut to the archives.
Yeah.
As he spins like a sim and transforms into Talandra. As Talandra, Lieutenant Strange, and Gullah Elrad enter a room about the size of the Iskandar's bridge. The left wall is lined with seats at old-fashioned computer consoles, all of them dark. In the center is a flat table panel. It looks like the ancestor of the modern Cardassian systems consoles. Stretching across the middle of it are a series of slots, all of them about the size of the pads which you saw in the living quarters. Some of them still have pads in them. This side where the slots are, the console is completely black and blank. On the other side, there is on the other side of the console, there is a single gleaming light on one of the displays.
Obviously, I imagine that will get approached.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. You reach over to it. Strange, I assume, can touch the console, which that makes the whole display on that side immediately gleam to life. But then, like a second later, there is a sad ooh, and it loses power. Elrod goes over to the pads. We assume this is some sort of in part of the library facility. Download the files you need to the pad. Take the pad away.
Take them with you.
If they have remained unused all this time, is there any chance that some of the pads still have power?
The pads appear to, yeah, he pulls them out, appear to have power. They're quite resilient.
Okay, that's a starting point.
What was the last thing that was being downloaded by the crew?
Appears to be a piece of fiction.
More fiction.
It's a simple reading material.
Stranger's going to pick up one of the other pads that's on the table and see if he can get that to come to life and see if that's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, all of the ones which were plugged in on this side, which wasn't the side which powered up, appear to be reading material. Like one is honestly a cookbook.
Okay, so they're not all fiction.
No.
Okay, they're just random stuff that you get from your average local library.
It's worth noting, by the way, that Talandra is, as best she can, collecting the pads in case there's some bigger picture she is missing.
Okay.
All
of the pads are that kind of innocuous, everyday life sort of thing.
If this was the last thing that was being downloaded, then these people were not expecting to die.
Possibly. Depends on what they were using the pads for, but I do take your point. Is there any way of restoring what just happened? He gestures at the console that powered up and down powered.
Well, if it had some life in it when we came in, I don't see a reason why immediately it wouldn't be restorable. Let's have a look.
Okay.
Stranger's going to abandon the fiction, which is not his element, and go over to something that's much more his element. Fixing things.
To the far end, hunker down, and again, pull out the panel. Can you make me an engineering check? It is still a difficulty, just difficulty 1.
That's 5.
Yeah. You suspect that this console should have had power, unlike the others, which weren't connected to either what power setting or power grid was.
Okay.
You just have to reroute through some things, which probably blew the moment it powered up.
So it's like a fuse has gone and a wire's been knocked loose by somebody touching it for the first time in 4 centuries.
Basically. So you can bring that, and you bring this display to life over the archives. And as you get up, you can see on the screen, it says well, it starts to scroll with facility logs.
Huh. Let's start reading.
Okay. I imagine the three of you can crowd around the screen.
Oh yeah,
Good old Star
Talandra
Trek
is
stuff.
got a right lurk on.
Yeah, Elrad looming over probably.
Oh, yeah, I imagine it's kind of strange at the front being loomed over by the two taller people.
You scroll up. These appear to be a series of simple entries which look like automated recordings from whatever systems the facility has. The date begins in Earth calendar 1849. Elrad will comment that's about 10 years after the Cardassians developed warp drive.
Okay.
The entries here are very simple. Arrival of what are referred to as inmates. There is a date with that one it begins and says 104 candidates. So you scroll on down a series of entries within the following days which say things like inmate 1 assumed position of administrator, inmate 6 assumed position of medic, inmate 43 assumed position of agricultural lead. All are followed with authorization granted to inmate whatever that number was. After that, there are a series of logs which are labeled classified. Sorry, we would say restricted rather than classified. So you're scrolling through that, and then the date hits approximately 2 years later, death of inmate 14. Below that, sub-entries are restricted. It ends with a note saying that inmate 81 assumed inmate 14's responsibilities in the logistics office. It then also adds inmate 63 assumed inmate 11's responsibilities in the agriculture board. And it continues like this. There are 2 more deaths that year. Then there's nothing for about 3 years, and then another handful of deaths. And then after 8 years in, there are 54 deaths, all within 1 month. Then there's nothing for another few years. 12 years in, another series of deaths which leave all of 17 people alive. These die off in 1s and 2s over the next 3 years. 15 years after the start date, everyone is dead.
So there were... I'm just going to double check a thing I see
Yep.
as well. So how many bodies were there in the corridor again? About 30 odd? Just the ones that were stacked
you
up.
probably have found about between the entirety of the living quarters, you found about 20 to 30 bodies.
Okay. That's... And how many died in the big batch in the logs?
54.
So there's 54 in the one about about 8 years in.
Yeah.
How many died in the block about 12 years in?
The one that left all but 17.
Yeah, that one.
Oh god, don't make me do the maths. Not more than
To
more
the
than
nearest,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
it's not that. Maybe
More
it is
than-
possible that everyone who was stacked up in that one room could be from that one incident. That is possible.
Okay. Yeah. That all seems very odd then, because there were 17 people left alive for 3 years. There are a lot more than 17 bodies back there.
Quite.
It had been left out for 3 years until the last person at this facility died. Let's see if we can get into these restricted logs.
That may be difficult.
Might need some of your help. And he nods to Galelrad.
I can do my best. However, if they're not accepting any of my authorization codes, then I really don't know what to do. This makes no sense. If this is a penal colony, then it should have had guards and infrastructure. Instead, it appears as if inmates were taking a role in running this place.
There must have been something that kept them here if whatever killed 54 in a month did not cause them to leave.
Something's keeping us here.
It's also possible they were just put on the planet with no way off it.
It's an unpleasant world, but it's not so unpleasant that you probably wouldn't try to make a living there instead of down here.
Yes, but
Who knows what the conditions were like 4 centuries ago?
But we have been here only a few hours and have spent this time trying to get off this world. I imagine with 15 years we would achieve that. Something beyond simple restrictions have kept them here.
We can have an attempt at trying to get through any of the restricted access, but computer science is not my forte. I really don't know where to begin. I can advise you through some of the computer systems, but...
Well, let's have a crack.
And also these are 400 years old.
Strange will just sort of shrug and off we go. Hacking time.
Okay. Make me an operations check then. I'm going to set the difficulty at 2. Elrad is going to attempt to assist. It's just as well to land for his dumb sexual.
It's Elrad not being particularly helpful.
He's fine, but
oh god, so stupid.
He got a +1, which is not enough. Which is like not actually enough to help. But he doesn't
have cleared the difficulty to actually be helpful.
Yeah,
here.
He doesn't actually eat his own head, but he's
okay. Could be worse.
Yeah. He guides you through it, but it's kind of stuff which Strange probably reckons he would have figured out. Like it would have just taken a bit longer for him to figure it out, rather than telling him anything that he couldn't have figured out for himself. So what do you get?
4.
Okay. It is very difficult to bypass this, as there are a lot of layers of security. And one thing which you become quite aware of is that you're pretty sure that there is data here within this which is not supposed to be accessed from this point. That this console should not be able to. That this essentially the login that you're on, and indeed the entire system that you're on, should not grant access to it. So you've come up with 2 things.
Okay.
The first is a further understanding of the system, which is, as I say, don't think it should be accessed there. You suspect that what is intended is that this is supposed to be downloaded and then accessed from somewhere else within a more secure mainframe with all the right clearance codes. And someone here should not be able to physically access this. But you do manage to work through a few layers of security. That's as well as this will bring the timelines on, as this takes about as long as it'll take for going through every single fucking body in that morgue. At periodic points over the timeline, and sometimes it happens just at very periodic points in the timeline. It says the addition which you can access from the restricted is the computer records say things like commencing program 12. Program 12 resolved. Commencing program 17. Program 17 resolved. Sorry, no. Probably not 17. Yes, program 17 resolved. You would notice that sometimes they just happen, and then does kind of like restricted, program X resolved. Around any death, not a single death happens after a program is resolved and before another one starts. Every single death occurs within a window of a program.
Right.
There is one last entry.
Does this include the 54
Yes.
deaths, and are there separate programs for each of those?
Yes, they are all distinct, different programs.
Different programs.
There is, right at the bottom, in a restricted entry, which you have a date for, it's today. Commence program 97.
Right. There are 2 things that Strange is going to double check now with the records that he's got. The first is the program numbers. Do those line up with the inmate death numbers? So as in, inmate 18 dies with program 18. No? Okay. The other one is how many inmates were there?
104.
Right, okay. So it's not 96.
No.
Got it. Right.
There are some which haven't run. Just a handful. But some didn't run. Again,
is it-
quite the higher number ones.
Are there 5 that haven't run?
No.
Okay.
There's like 12. Pretty much every single one from 1 to 50 has run, and then between 50 to 96, here and there are ones which just haven't run.
Just ones seemingly at random.
Yes.
And not correlating with. Okay.
Nope.
Okay. And it's just 97 that's running at the minute.
Yes. It is the first. There are some, as you can see now, there are some things which the computer did generate some entries with dates, with times and dates which correlate to your arrival, but those are all still restricted. But the one which happened, like bunch of entries at your arrival, all the exact same times, something ends with begin program 97.
Right. Grand. Any ideas as to what this could mean? Strange says mostly looking at Gul Elrod, but also looking at Talandra, because Talandra might know things.
This is unlike any penal colony I'm familiar with. Also, as a research facility, it's odd that it still likewise appears to have no authorities. This doesn't match anything of which I'm familiar.
Not anything you might have heard, I don't know, rumors about, or anything, you know, if it's not familiar, then something that...
Is it could refer to so many different things. I appreciate that we're talking with something has happened here, inmates have died. It appears violently, especially with this indication of 1 inmate dies, 2 positions need replacing. That suggests to me that someone was incarcerated for it or incapacitated in some way, but there is not a history of Cardassia locking people underground off-world in a self-sustaining penal colony. They would need to be supervised.
Unless this was some experiment that failed. Cardassian justice has never been known for its kindness.
That's not the purpose of Cardassian justice. However, experimentation on this scale, again, I would expect it to be supervised.
Unless it was. Just not by present forces.
Supervised from a distance.
Clearly, whatever happened here was not successful enough to be replicated, or was successful in achieving its goals and did not need to be continued. Therefore, it would be illogical for us to look at modern Cardassian practices to try and explain what has happened here.
Yes, quite.
Have you been able to uncover everything, Lieutenant Strange?
Not everything. There's a few things that I can't seem to get past the security levels for. There's a few bits of the system that I can't quite manage to hack into. Then he'll gesture at the screen at some of the bits that are still saying restricted in big letters.
Talandra's going to I think Talandra's going to do a Samuel Casey, and she's going to lean over his shoulder and attempt it herself.
Okay, make me that operations check.
How does she go about doing it? Because So the current setup is Strange is in front of the computer with kind of Galelrad over one shoulder and Talandra over the other.
Mm-hmm.
How does Talandra kind of indicate for Strange to move out the way?
So
Does she indicate for Strange to move out the way?
So the computer
shove him out the
system.
chair?
No, so the computer system is different. She doesn't shove him out the chair. She's not an animal. The computer system is different, so I don't know. But she does the equivalent of, when you're with a supervisor, who's talking to you, and then they lean over you and take the mouse out of your hand, and
Yeah.
and you're like, do I stay here? Do I leave?
That's exactly what Strange is doing. That face. It kind of shrinks back quite a lot when Talandra does that.
Make me that operations check.
Yeah, I would like to check what my operations skill is and potentially tag stuff if this doesn't go.
Izzy kills her dice.
That's a 5.
Okay. However, I'm sorry, but you have also plundered this plot point. Yeah,
You know exactly why I'm doing this.
I know, I understand, but I also need to express, despite that outstanding role, you basically double check everything. And that's the thing. Strange could see this on the screen, that Talandra goes right back to the beginning.
He doesn't want to look.
And is doing everything that Strange did again to run through it and see if there is any gap that Strange might have missed, and opens up a few more timestamps on some of the restricted entries, but that is all. While Talandra is doing this, Burov and Casey come in. How was the infirmary?
We have found not just the infirmary, which has nothing particularly functional, a cabinet we can't get into, but it's still operational, but also the morgue. A very full morgue.
How
See now
many
why they
people...
put the people in the
Oh, carry on, Burov.
sorry, I think my internet's being a cunt. I think yes, thank you for telling me my internet's unstable now, Zoom. That was a thing I realised earlier.
Thanks, Zoom.
Fuck you, Zoom.
Zoom.
I think now it explains why those people were stacked up in that facility, because the morgue is completely full. Well over 50 corpses.
Checking in again, Kath.
104.
No, the last number at 12 years, was that, you said that was more than 50?
All but... care about
Okay, hang on though. 54, 17. I can do maths.
Only 17
30
people were alive in the last 3 years.
So we're talking in the region of 30 odd? Yes, 30 odds that died in that set batch at 12 years.
Oh, sorry, no. In the oh god, more like, if only 17 people were alive and there's 104.
104, so you've got 50 left. Take off 17.
84 people died in the first 12 years.
Yeah, what I'm trying to work out is, so you had the batch of 54 people that died.
Then
you have the second batch of people that died, and it's how many people were in that second batch. And it's about 30 odd.
God, probably yes. I didn't want to do these maths, so I ended it on about 17 people were still
33.
alive.
33
yes.
in fact. There you go.
Yeah, 1 death, 2 deaths, whatever. Yep.
And that's up to 33. I'm pretty sure. Somebody can kill me with my maths. Thank you. The internet's 37 even.
What have you found?
Well, we found out how many people there were here in the first place.
104.
And a little about how many have died and when.
Where is this information?
This
Strange
computer
kind of
system.
nods towards the screen.
I go over.
You see Talandra working her way through, leaning over Strange, trying to pop. Yeah, you recognise she's trying to break through some of the security systems.
I hover.
Elrod kind of steps away from this gathering blob. It does appear as if we've thoroughly scrutinised this computer system.
Yes.
Is you're muted?
Yes, Ensign, I can't imagine you'll find anything further.
Might I try?
No, we have no further time to waste.
But yes, there were about 54 people at one point that died about 8 years after this facility started.
They had died in 1s and 2s and such before then.
And then 30 odd that died a few years later. The remaining 17 died over the last 3 years of the facility's life.
All in all, it was open for 15 years and they're labelled and referred to as inmates.
Galalrod, if I can ask,
Mm-hmm.
what's the kind of normal thing to do with Cardassian dead?
I looked this up last week and then I immediately forgot.
Just because, well, while you're looking that up, I will continue to talk to cover it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it seems, if the morgue is full, and then there are another set of bodies, there has to be at least 4 years between the first and second set dying. Would it be normal to leave dead bodies in a morgue for that length of time?
Sorry, I'm reading quickly. Part of the problem which I'm seeing here in terms of my limitation of my own knowledge is that if these are 400 years old, then at this point in time we had not encountered any other species.
Mm-hmm.
I say this because under modern circumstances, we bury our dead underground and it is considered unacceptable for any but our own people to view the corpses. Practices have changed. I have no doubt. I do not know. I am not a student of the history of this level of sociological habit. I don't know, unfortunately. Normally, obviously, we would try to secure our dead in a respectable and respectful way. However, also it seems as if clearly there was something going on in this place for all of these massive violent deaths, and they didn't have the facilities to be able to safely store or respectfully store their dead.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, I doubt, however, that being left in here would count as a proper burial.
Yeah.
And that practice is millennia old. These people were left here, they died here, and whoever put them here has not even had the decency to treat their remains respectfully. I'm aware there are many things which are considered abhorrent, but even those who are sentenced to the labor camps or sentenced to death are given at least a pauper's grave.
Perhaps that is what this rock is. Although, if for some reason they were sent here for some experimental purpose, it would make sense that no one would want to come back and put themselves at risk. After all, it's just corpses. It is not like they had left living people here or something important to be collected.
As I say.
Which clearly means that the technology is not important to them either. or that the only people that knew about this place died. It was a long time ago.
It still strikes me as strange that there were 50 or so people left alive after the first major set of deaths, if you like, for a number of years, who, if they were just being left here, why did they not do anything with the bodies in the morgue?
I can imagine, Lieutenant, that it was not their priority. If they were trapped here, or perhaps facing risk of death for themselves, I imagine what to do with piles of dead flesh did not even register for them as something important. Clearly, if they were trapped here, then preserving the lives of the living was far more important than handling corpses for sentimental reasons.
Need to call a quick GM freeze. Where physically is everyone?
In the room?
Shrinking into
Yeah.
the floor.
Still in the chair, Strange?
So, unless somebody has moved me out of the chair, or
Still over his shoulder, Talandra?
I think she stood up more, like she stopped doing the computer
the
business.
leaning
Mhm.
everything. Yeah.
Okay.
So she's probably stood back a little.
Imagine-
Arcady's in the doorway.
Elrad has stepped away from the growing blob. Okay, and what's Casey doing, Mike?
He has not stopped looking at the console.
So he's still leaning over.
Yeah, maybe more so now. If Talandra's
Now
gonna
Talandra's stepped back.
Yeah, he's trying to occupy that space.
Okay. Please carry on. Strange, you now have a Casey instead of a Talandra hovering over your shoulder.
Doesn't make the situation better. If anything, that makes this worse.
Nevertheless, it seems that we have gained all we can from plumbing the depths of history in this place, and we should press on. As it seems some sort of program has begun, it would behoove us to find out what has changed.
Yes, let's just. And Strange kind of tries to. I don't know how much of the space Casey is taking up, but
Oh, he'll let you move away. That's not a problem.
What's Strange trying to do?
just having a look at the screen just to double check the timestamp of when the program started.
Yeah, Strange is still scrolling, Casey. He's looked at all of this before, Casey.
Might I try?
Ensign Casey, you are a very intelligent young man. Was that what you required? Because I assure you, I and the chief engineer have looked at the computer system, and we are done. We are leaving to investigate further, where I am sure there will be many times for you to outshine. What would Talandra say? Talandra wouldn't say boyfriend.
Paramore.
That's not any better.
Where I'm sure you will find many opportunities to outshine your romantic partner. If you are quite finished showing off, then we will go.
Strange just looks like he wants the floor to swallow him.
Ah, this can get worse.
Great. Doesn't say that, but that's what his face expression is.
Yes, Commander.
Strange scrolls as quickly as he can to check the timestamp and just get out of this situation.
Escape. Alt F4, Alt F4.
Control Alt Delete. Rip wires out. Anything.
You end it. Everyone can get up.
And she'll turn on her heel and stride out the room.
Yep.
Like,
Elrad will leave with her. Get out. Just get out of this situation. Okay. Borov, I assume, leaves with the two of them.
I think Barov's gonna stand and like look at the two mortified, sad boys.
Hey, she's probably just under a lot of stress from the atmosphere. It's very cold. I think Vulcans don't do well in the cold.
It's warm in here now.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Maybe it's cold.
I'm sure it's fine, Doctor. You don't need to make excuses for the commander.
No, I was just trying to make you feel better. Hey, maybe we'll find a robot to be friends with.
They're gonna trot out.
Strange is just going to try and get out the computer chair as as quietly and unobtrusively as possible.
You wriggle away from Casey.
Yep,
and
that's the
head
definitely the direction he's moving away as well.
And
It's
head
like,
for the door?
And head for the door.
Okay, Casey, there's no one in between you and the computer console.
I'm leaving with them to make it look like I'm leaving with them, but once I get to the door, I'm turning around and go to the console.
Okay, cut to cut to ahead as Elrad leaves with Talandra.
Wait 1 second, I'm going to turn lights on.
Commander, how are you feeling down here?
I apologize, Gal Elrad, that you are having to deal with my crew when they are quite clearly at their worst. I was assured that the romantic entanglement between my chief science officer and my chief engineer would not be a problem. Alas, Ensign Casey has a lot of growing up to do.
Very well, but even under circumstances of great stress before, I imagine that you're probably rather at the end of your tether with them, that is all.
I do not follow your line of logic.
You've been a little cold with them.
I was not aware that I was often overburdened with sentimentality, Gal Elrad.
You were not, and I appreciate that I have not seen you a great deal with your senior staff. However, this is simply different to what I've witnessed before, and previously was also under a time of great stress.
I'm aware that we are currently in unique situations, and therefore Lieutenant Strange, Ensign Casey, and Dr. Burov, who are not the best equipped for handling emotionally stressful situations, are all floundering. They are not logically rising to the occasion, and therefore I feel I must ensure that they hold themselves together so that we can return to the Iskandar.
I appreciate that the display between Dr. Burov and Ensign Casey with the hand was a little embarrassing, but I've only seen Lieutenant Strange be acting perfectly respectably.
Lieutenant Strange is respectable, but occasionally irrational.
Very well. Of course, you know your people far better than I do, Commander. However, if there is anything I can do to assist...
Of course, I am merely sorry that you must see my crew at their worst. As for my feelings, they have no bearing on the situation. I am not feeling emotionally under pressure. I merely expect the excellence of my crew that they would expect from me as their commanding officer. And when I write my report about what happened here today to return it to Captain Athan, I wish to be able to represent 3 officers of my crew in the best light.
Of course, and I wouldn't presume to be telling you how to do your job. However, certainly, I think that there is a certain understanding of their emotional circumstances, which it would be logical to factor into your management technique. Otherwise, it appears to be exacerbating the situation.
Do you seek to lecture me about the nature of logic, Gal Elrad?
Not simply a lecture, but an observation. After many years of my own of leadership and personnel management.
In which case, you are welcome to manage their personal issues. I shall deal with the problem at hand.
He's not going to stop her there because that's too good a line to carry on that conversation. And okay, unless Casey, make me a stealth check.
Yeah.
Realize, and can we get an opposed notice check by Strange and Burov?
Holy shit! My criticals.
Which way?
The good way.
Am I able to invoke aspects for like disadvantage?
I could compel you to not succeed, but roll anyway.
I'm going to roll anyway, but
feel
I've
free
got an
to-
aspect that's like the least helpful thing here. So, which feels like it's, especially given I nearly critted that as well. Like, positively, I've got a 6 and a 2.
Dueling crits.
What's the end result still?
The end result for a notice
Mm-hmm.
becomes he's got quite good notice as well. Fuck's sake. 6.
Cool. What did Burov get?
5. But given that he critted, and I think that Burov has a lot on their mind at the moment, I'm happy for that not to be enough.
What's the aspect you were talking about, Emily?
Maybe Gwen should be here instead of me.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to compel you to have a fate point to not.
Yeah.
That's too funny for me.
Yeah, all right.
Also, the role-playing effect upon Gul Elrad appears to have manifested into mansplaining, which I was not expecting, but here we are. Yeah, Casey, you become one with the night as your sad boyfriend and distracted
I'm being too sad to notice.
slope off, and you can peel back to get to that computer.
Yeah.
I'm not okay unless you've got something mind-bogglingly new. I'm not making you roll because
no, he does everything that they've done.
Yeah, you do it all over again.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, no, I will make you make me an operations check because it's a question of can you even replicate what they've done because they both did very well.
That is a 3.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're not actually sure how Adam got through some of the final layers of security.
Time to obsess.
Okay. Just as Elrad and Talandra finish their conversation, Strange and Burov arrive.
Where is Ensign Casey?
And now Strange will turn round and go look for Casey.
Talandra's face is completely neutral. Like,
oh no! Oh, I'm gonna be in trouble.
You're in trouble with Mom.
And I think it is only because Lieutenant Strange immediately turns, looks, and hot foots it back to the office that she does not follow him.
Does he hotfoot it back to the office? Did you say that, Emily?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought.
I know. I just want to check.
No. Hotfoot it's the wrong word because it's more a kind of fuck.
Desperately scurries back.
Yeah, kind of. It's somewhere between like a nervous scurry of shit. I've left him behind. I hope nothing awful's happened to him, and combined with I know exactly what I'm going to see, and I don't want to see it.
The reason she isn't moving is just if Adam reacts and doesn't look to her for instruction, she will remain still and let him go back. So it doesn't matter how urgent it is, provided it happens immediately.
Adam goes back. You find sat at that console, Casey.
Typing away.
And Strange will just walk over.
Like a brief look up at you, then looks back down at the console. You need to show me how you did it. You need to show me how you got into the lower level access.
Sam, I don't need to show you.
It will not take long. If you can just replicate it for me now.
It took a long time to do it in the first place, Sam.
Then you learned how to do it. Just whilst everyone is doing something else, just show me what you did so I can make sure you did it right.
Sam, what everyone else is doing is going. We're not sticking around here.
I can catch up. Adam, just show me.
Sam, we need to leave here.
I will be leaving much faster. It doesn't matter. If you don't want to show me, that's fine. I can crack it myself given time. It would just be faster and more efficient if you show me the steps that you undertook.
No, we are going. And we're not leaving you here.
If we go, I want to be wherever you are in terms of acquiring access. I need to be absolutely certain, given these circumstances, that you're doing your job right.
Fine. Fine.
Thank you.
Knock knock. Hello.
I love you so much.
Oh, is he?
Hi, Burov here.
Hi. Remember me? Dr. Burov from the USS Iskandar?
Hello, Doctor.
We're friends from work. Ensign Casey, are you okay? Is it your shoulder? Because I can take another look at it if you are embarrassed about being in pain.
Oh no, I'm quite fine, thank you.
Wait, you were hurt?
I rammed a door awkwardly. It was hardly worth mentioning.
It wasn't dislocated, it was just bruised. But it will
okay.
be stiff for a little bit. You didn't see an old friend and wave vigorously, did you?
No, I've not seen an old friend and wave vigorously.
Well then let's go look. Maybe we'll find someone.
Okay. Lieutenant? Are you coming?
Yes, Ensign.
As Casey steps outside, Burov's going to effectively like body block around him and go to speak quietly to Lieutenant Strange. Like effectively putting them between the two of them, and they will reach out a hand to Strange's wrist and just say very softly, "Are you okay? That looked intense."
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine. And he's just looking over Burrow's shoulder at Casey as he's walking away as well.
Kath,
We should...
Yeah?
I'd like to. I think I'd like to tag an aspect of Talandra's because you know when you think about what a character should do, and then you take a step back and gain some perspective and go, "Oh no, they shouldn't do that." So
what
I
are you
think
trying to do?
I would like Talandra to have a similar revelation of, "Oh no, I shouldn't do that. Oh no."
Okay. What I'm gonna do, as I realize what I am making all of you do, is occasionally, by putting this roleplay effect on you, making you act against your aspects. In some ways, you almost have an aspect on you. But what I'm going to let you do is ask, and sometimes I'm going to say no, but I'm going to let you ask if you wish to spend a fate point to act in a way that is contrary to the role-playing effect by invoking an aspect.
That's exactly what I'd like to do right now.
I will never do that.
None of yours are any help. Okay. But you got to spend that fate point, and sometimes I'll say no. But this time I'm going to say yes.
Thank you. What I would like to tag is Disciple of Surak, because, well, for reasons that I will explain. After Arcady waits for about 2 seconds, sees Talandra's unblinking face, and goes, "I'll just see what's keeping them," and trots off to leave them be. Talandra's going to be very still. Regarding our conversation of earlier, there might be something wrong with me. I very briefly felt anger. Only for a moment.
At what?
I'm not fully certain. I think at Ensign Casey, but not
not at him, but that he has slowed us down and behaved contrary to the logic of the situation. He has regressed back to an childish and illogical state. But more importantly, I have not felt anger since I was a child.
Cast out these emotions by using reason to accept them, and then move past them. There was nothing that I read which indicated that these feelings could not be felt.
No, but often I am able to cast them out before they take root. My mind told me to act on instinct, and acting on instinct is something that I never do. Which means I worry that the pressure of the situation must be affecting me in an adverse way.
I would posit that I am in a unique situation because I am not under your chain of command, and thus it does not compromise the mission if you are to, as you already have, expressed any ways in which you may be compromised. And so I very freely offer any support I can have, even if it is to listen. I would normally, for another officer, suggest punch my hand. However, I'm not sure that's a good idea in your case.
No.
One of you would probably break my hand.
I would, and I would probably feel bad about it.
I would also feel bad about it. However, you have recognized this, and surely recognition is one of the most important steps to mastering your emotions.
I am very aware of how to master my emotions. Passing through Kolinar was an almost joyful time in my life. What I am concerned about is that something has affected me here.
Something may be affecting the others. As you say, Ensign Casey has, in your estimation, regressed.
In which case I cannot be compromised whilst in a position of leadership.
That might be untenable, but it may have happened.
That is exceptionally troubling.
You, however, have, unlike anybody else, a roadmap through this. And if there is anything I can do, meditative techniques, assistance, reminders.
You cannot give others what you have not experienced yourself.
No.
Thank you, Galrad, and I can only apologize if my behavior has caused you to doubt my judgment.
It has not, and no apology is necessary. And the others arrive.
Ensign, I trust you were able to wrap up your work in a timely fashion.
Yes, Commander.
Wonderful. Did you find any additional data?
No, Commander.
At least then that we have been thorough.
Yes, Commander.
Then she will press on.
Big few.
You can all press on.
No telling off from Mum for you.
I'm fine.
Yet.
Now. Oh.
The next room is a large room approximately the size of Iskandar's mess room, and laid out very similarly. It does indeed appear to be a cafeteria. At the far end, some of the tables have been tipped over in what looks like a makeshift barricade. There are no skeletons or remains visible within this room. on the right leads to a kitchen area. Just a look through the door suggests it's a complete fucking tip. And at the far end, there is a lift door, much like the one you arrived in, but smaller.
If the lift is powered, then we go down.
Aye, Commander. Strange will start walking over to the lift.
Okay, the door is shut.
Do I go past the barricade on the way to the lift?
It's kind of like
It was like
not
the
really.
barricade's over there and the lift's
It's in
over
a corner.
there.
They've kind of
Okay.
barricaded. It looks like that whoever barricaded it in a corner, unsurprisingly.
Sure.
But rather than they didn't appear to be blocking off the lift.
Okay. I was more
Um,
thinking, like, is it in a corner that's kind of
Yeah.
would walk past on the way to the lift or something like that? But no,
Not
that's fine.
particularly.
Mostly
um,
just to see if I'll put a quick peek behind and see if there are any dead
You-
bodies in it. But no,
You can't see.
I can't see.
You get to the lift. The doors are shut. There is a panel next to it, which includes a slot, which you think would probably require a key card.
Huh. Now I'm just trying to think. Do I want to try and jury rig my way past the key card? Probably do, because there's a lot of bodies to search for key cards.
That sounds like work.
Is
That sounds like interacting with people. I mean, they're dead, but it's still people.
is there anything holding us up?
I mean, it'll take a little bit longer to get this lift working because it requires a key card rather than just being a case of press a button. But I wouldn't really call that a hold up.
Set to work bypassing it. Ensign Casey, Dr. Burov, search the mess in the kitchen in case there is a card that has been left.
Yes, Commander.
Burov heads into the kitchen, and I am gonna invoke the minor event help from Lou, as someone has just left that fucking key card out on the surface. The kitchen is an absolute, as I say, tip. Any cooking equipment or anything looks dead and grimy. There are cupboards. They look as if they probably matched once some of the technology which was used for the sealed cupboards within the infirmary, but they are all open. They are all empty. There are various cooking utensils which have kind of been strewn and scattered around. It's almost like, once upon a time students lived here, really. And so at the kind of a top of pile, a stack of pads is one key card.
Ooh, pads. What's on them?
Recipes.
In a kitchen? Really?
Bullshit. I gotta check it out.
Are there any bodies?
Oh, you go check that out.
There are no bodies in the kitchen.
Burov will follow the instructions of scooping up pads and whatnot in case of important information. And then we'll pop their head out of the kitchen and go, "Yoo-hoo."
Oh, good. And Strange will go over to Borov and take the key card from them.
Take the key card. Pop it in the card reader. The light
No.
turns green.
Oh, I was
Doors.
expecting it to not work.
Doors slide open, and there is a small lift, as I say, smaller than the original. You can all step into the lift.
That is the closest I shall come to hacking any computer systems.
Very well done, Doctor.
You all step into the lift. Like the previous one, it only goes down one level.
Gross.
The doors shut. The lift goes down. And that's where we're going to take a break.
Yay!
Ah,
Back in 10, I guess.
Maybe.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome back, folks. You know us. You tolerate our existence. We're back in the pit of suffering in Star Trek Iskandar. what you are in the dark, as our intrepid away team remain locked in some sort of mysterious Cardassian ancient prison facility? Research prison facility?
Torture chamber?
Torture pit.
Torture pit. And they have just made it through the first level, are in a lift, which has come down. The doors slide open to show mostly darkness. At the end of a long room, one solitary light flickers on and off, casting erratic shadows and silhouettes across the chamber before you. After a moment's squinting, however, the mundanity of the room reveals itself. A large office with rows of desks, those same completely dead computer consoles upon them. Everything is coated in a thick layer of dust, and the air is, possible, more musty down here. When you step into the room, the lift doors slide shut behind you, killing the light from inside. And as you look around, the light at the far end of the office flickers off. Clang. Something falls, clatters, the sound echoes around, the light flickers back on. Nothing in sight.
I grab my ineffective phaser and point it instinctively towards the bang, and then frustratedly just slam it back into its holster.
Elrad has assumed more of a combat pose, as he is clocked also that his disruptor is of no use. Is a disruptor.
Oof. Talandra, I think there's a twist in that, like, what Borov does is Strange is stood sort of next to them. And I think their immediate response is kind of to stand. They've decided Strange is now the safe one. And so they will stand kind of partly behind Strange with a sudden, and Talandra, who is not afraid of anything, will step forward into the darkness with a kind of looking around and a kind of,
Yeah, Strange is probably looking out of the. No, we're already at the lift. Just kind of immediately going, okay, something's changed. What's changed? It's kind of a kind of intense curiosity, investigating kind of face.
Are you moving?
He is now.
Okay.
Now that the lights flickered back on.
Yeah, the light flickers. It keeps flickering, and sometimes it goes dead for the exact same period, like roughly the same length of time it did then. It's just a
Does
shittier
anything go
light.
bang?
Nothing else goes bang.
Okay.
As Strange advances, when he advances, Elrad seems to be making sure that he is certainly near whoever is furthest ahead.
Talandra definitely has walked.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I will step up at that point too.
You follow. Then as you move around the banks of desks, you spot, with the dust around it sufficiently disturbed, there is a piece of the side casing of one of the computers. Looked like it was loose, might have been slightly knocked by the lift doors shutting. It just fell.
Clearly our arrival has disrupted the air here.
I believe the ventilation system is only just been reactivated down here.
Quite.
And go and kind of like lift up the case, kind of map it out
Dusty.
in my mind, like
Dusty.
look at the ventilation, kind of play it out a little bit in mime.
I mean, it could have done.
How certain are we?
Ensign Casey, do be careful. Don't inhale the dust. You don't know what the composition is of the dust in this air, and if it gets into your lungs, I don't have the medical capacity to help you. And
I dare say that we've all inhaled a vast amount of dust down here, and if that's the case, then it's far too late.
I mean, with all due respect, Alra, that it's Cardassian and Vulcan physiology is better naturally to handle a dusty atmosphere owing to Cardassia prime and Vulcan's natural environments. Ensign Casey and Lieutenant Strange and I are.
Arcady, either there isn't anything you can do and we're going to die very quickly, or it's something that can be dealt with later.
I mean, us all dying very quickly is still very much on the cards. I'm just trying to slow that down as much as possible, and miner's lung is not a joke.
I'll let you know if I contract miner's lung.
I mean, I'll probably let you know because I'm the doctor. Arcady goes off to the doorway again.
There is a far door. Are you are you leaving? Are you poking around more?
I'm just gonna go for the door.
Okay. You head out of the office space. Who is taking up the rear? It sounds like it's going to be Burov or Casey.
Probably Burov.
Okay.
That's not a question that's ever good, ever.
Bye!
Who's taking up the rear? Because they're going to be free cake for whoever's last.
You did it. You solved the plot.
Or
As
it might mean
you-
that you're furthest away from the imminent explosion when I trigger the booby trap whilst carelessly trying to open the door.
As
Be
you
nice.
leave the room and move on into another narrow corridor, Burov casts a look back into the office they've come from. And when the light flickers in the darkness, something moves.
Don't do this to me.
And then the light's on and nothing is there.
I don't know about this.
Not sure any of us do.
Okay.
You move on. It's not funny, but Izzy whimpering is funny to me. You move on into a new chamber. This chamber is easily the largest space you've been into yet. Probably the size of all of the living quarters combined into one huge room. Again, you're at the mercy of poor lighting. Just the strips of illumination at the ceiling. They aren't flickering, but there is an arrangement of large storage containers, very much like stacked cargo crates. And that's the first thing that you see. Stacked cargo crates. And it looks as if you're going to have to work your way through this room. The issue there with the light is that it does appear as if certain sections are going to be cast in darkness simply because the crates are blocking out this one light source at particular angles.
It may well be difficult to decipher any potential clues of what has gone on here. We should divide up and move through the crates so that we efficiently explore this chamber.
Yes, Commander.
Commander?
Call out should you find anything.
Understood.
You all just kind of fan out.
Sticking with Strange.
Okay. You start to fan out, moving in between these various passages, between boxes. Burov and Talandra heading off on their own?
Yeah.
Okay. Elrod will head off on his own. And within very short order, any of the individual parties cannot lose line of sight of each other.
It's still reasonable when you're working on the assumption that time is of
You begin to work your way through this large maze-like chamber of tall, dark crates.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I like the look of that.
I don't like that. That's a random fucking roll.
Yeah,
I don't
it is.
like that.
Good times and free grog.
I'm really sorry. Adam Strange.
Yes! I win!
Free
You
grog!
win the free cake.
Do I win a cake?
The two of you are moving along these crates, which have markings on them, which seem to be things such as garden section, food supplies marked. And you pass a kind of shrouded, almost corridor made by these crates on your left. It clearly leads, well, it leads into darkness, but you can probably estimate that it leads to the wall. As you pass it, it's your turn to see in the darkness something moving, the sense of movement. Just as you're walking past, something in dark moving up at you.
Strange will, in that case, start
Mm-hmm.
and take a step back and go look into that corridor. And see
Stop.
if there's anything. Like,
Yeah.
what? Back.
Stop, start, focus. Darkness.
What's the matter?
Thought I saw something in here. And he'll take a step in to the dark corridor of boxes.
Okay.
Just to
Casey,
try and get let his eyes focus in the dark a bit more. To
Casey will take a step as well. Whereabouts?
It was down here.
Casey starts heading that way.
Casey heads into the darkness, and
And
You can still
Stranger will
come.
go as well.
you both move
Both of us go
into
into the dark.
dark corridor.
What kind of movement?
It was just movement, but I didn't. How long is this corridor boxes? Have we got to the
Oh,
to
yeah,
the point where we
you
can
are
see
approaching
the wall?
wall pretty much now. It's not that
And there's
deep.
nothing in here, is there?
There's nothing
could
in
have moved.
here.
Something falling? Something...
No, not that kind of movement.
You
It
both
was
feel a breeze across the back of your necks.
Look around.
look around.
Don't swear.
Why not?
It's uncouth. I don't think there's anything here.
No, there isn't. Yeah. That seems to be what the problem is.
Unless it was up on the crates.
No, I don't think it was up on the crates. I don't think it was even there.
So you're saying you're hallucinating?
Yep. Yep, that's what I'm saying.
I'll take the lead.
Oh, come on.
What?
It's hardly a surprise, is it? That we're back to this kind of thing again.
What kind of thing?
Last time it was something in the water, and now it's... Maybe Dr. Burrow was right about how the atmosphere is, and there is actually something in the air that is affecting us. And
Burrow has indicated that any surface we've come across might have a pathogen on it.
yes, I'm not saying they're right about every single thing, but it...
I don't think we're being poisoned.
I think there's something that's in the air that's affecting us. Let's go look somewhere else. And Strange will just walk off back down the corridor of boxes the way he came.
Casey catches up, and like there's a moment where he's like clearly trying to get by as if he wants to lead, but kind of settles kind of more or less abreast.
You two proceed. Talandra.
Hello.
Is she investigating anything she picked her way through?
Yes, I think she's looking at everything with that kind of cool. Does this seem out of place? Could this have been a situation, or I guess anything that could go property of the secret Cardassian underground base corporation? If she finds a cat, though, she eaten it.
It's not your time, kitten. Your time is later when you're the big boss. Talandra picks her way through the various passages amongst the crates. Again, a lot of things are labelled. It's very badly organised. Just the things that she sees organised there are the labels on the crates. It's not the most sensible. A lot of things stacked next to other things where rather than categorized.
What sort of things were they storing here?
Again, a lot of it seems to be stored by section. As one refers to garden section supplies, agriculture sector supplies, computer spare parts with lots of various specifying the different spare parts on this. A lot of the agricultural supplies. And some supplies of just long-term food stuff. But like, not all the food stuff is together. Not all of the agricultural section stuff is together.
Noted.
And as Talandra advances, she begins to find... Has she passed this crate before? Did she just get... And suddenly realizes that she has, in passing through, ended up quite turned around.
Crew, report.
There's a sort of a distant for everyone. Like, Talandra hears a certain echo, but that's about as much as anyone else can hear.
Crew, report.
Boys can hear it. Burov can hear it. There's a distant
Does it
call.
at least sound like Talandra, or is it just a noise?
Could be, like, in that way of distant or distorted noises.
Mm-hmm.
There is a sound of... Okay. You had one job. And
Yeet the cat.
I don't know why I
Is
trusted
somebody
him.
throwing it? Talandra is displeased.
Mm-hmm. You can make out a direction on that at least.
Move towards the direction, I think.
Okay. You move towards the direction, and soon enough, Talandra is relatively confident that she's heading in the correct direction now. After a bit of all of this examination, sorry, that was me counting rather than making creepy noises for you. Burov is the first to make their way, the first of the PCs to make their way through to the other end of this section, finds before a very large pair of currently closed doors, Elrad waiting. I thought I heard calling. I called back.
No, that wasn't me. I was holding my breath for a good lot of it. I thought I heard something, but then I thought it might be creaking, and then I thought one of the shelves might collapse. Have the others not come through?
Obviously not.
Oh.
The sad boys arrive.
I thought Elrod just said that. I was like, you're not allowed to call them that. Oh, look.
That's a man and Arctes word.
I will modulate my pitch more effectively.
How dare you? That's a dinner on my term.
Oh, good. Wait,
What?
I thought you were with the commander. I thought you were with the commander.
Why would
No.
I have been with the commander? She told us
No.
to split up.
We all split up.
Did you
Look,
find
all of
anything?
this is simply an array of poorly stacked and organized crates. I'm rather confident that she's simply working her way through. Maybe she's had to backtrack. There's no reason to assume that anything on this is an obvious path through.
Clearly, it's dampening the sounds. What if something has fallen on her?
We heard some of the sounds. It may have been her calling. I called back.
What if she
feel
was
like
calling
crashing
because
boxes.
something had fallen on her?
Talandra
I feel like
arrives.
the sound of crashing boxes would have been.
Commander.
Commander?
Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated, Dr. Burrow.
Was it any of you who called out first?
I called out.
I replied. I wasn't sure if anyone could hear me.
No, I think I did hear you.
We weren't certain as to the origin of the voice, so we didn't want
believe-
to confuse matters.
I believed my voice would have been clearer. However, the baffling caused by the poorly stacked shelves must have dispersed my voice. I heard you, Gal Elrod, but you were unintelligible.
Well, it's almost certainly the crates.
They're
For
quite
people-
haphazardly stacked. That'll do a lot to disrupt the.
For people who
Passage
had
of sound.
15 years of their lives, they did not seem to manage to find even the closest thing to an efficient storage system.
Nobody else saw any motion, did they?
What?
Anything moving?
No.
See?
Maybe next time we should stay together, just in case we see something that isn't there. It would be, reasonable just to
Do what the most
assuage-
efficient method is when we get to the next few rooms.
Yes, we will do what is efficient, not what needs to be done to assuage one's fear of the dark, Dr. Burrow.
Shall we press on?
Yes, let's.
Two, very large doors, the sort of thing which you would expect within something more like a cargo bay. However, there is a panel next to the doors, and I assume generally it's Strange who's going to poke these things, and it's fairly straightforward. Input a command, unless Casey moves in. There's a panel on the wall. What do you do?
Head towards it.
Strangers gonna head towards it.
The two
Well-
boys head towards the panel.
Bump shoulders with Strange as we both try to interface with it at the same time.
Is that what we're calling it?
That's...
I'm sorry.
I love this sad boy interfacing fic I found.
Yeah, there's apparently this is a thing now. There's a panel on the door. Both of you approach it.
Let me.
Fine.
You press the two buttons and the door opens.
I win! I win Star Trek!
This next chamber is even bigger. It could be maybe even a square kilometer, possibly more. And it was clearly, this is where all of that agricultural equipment was for. The thing is, unlike the gardens upstairs, this level was clearly far more automated. And so you have essentially a large field which has been left running for several centuries.
Oh dear.
The result is you step out onto a dimly lit wilderness of tall grass, weeds, plant life, most of it coming up to maybe the shoulder of the shortest. Some of you, shortest of you, so Burov. Maybe, no, it's
Yeah.
coming up taller than
Yeah,
Burov.
no,
Burov's tiny.
Like
Burov can't see.
Burr's like 5'3", Strange is 5'7", and everybody else is taller.
It comes up to Stranger's shoulder.
Izzy, you have
Fuck on. Brov's 5'5". Brov's
my
not
bad.
5.
My bad. I honestly thought they were 5'3".
I'm 5'3". My
Yeah, so
character's
am I.
not all taller.
Fair enough.
Live the
Burrow
dream.
is-
5'5".
Burrow is still the shortest by a mere 2 inches, but you know.
Okay, it comes up to Stranger's shoulder. However, there are obviously some patches taller, some patches shorter. Because of the patchy nature of the soil, there are sort of... It's not always as dense as it might necessarily be, but visibility is very poor in terms of being able to see very far ahead because of this wilderness. And also above, whilst you can feel the warmth of the high-up hydroponic equipment, it is still quite dim at present. But it's still that kind of... It's less humid in here, but it is still warm in here. And yeah, you... Welcome to a wilderness of agriculture.
And sadness.
No, the sadness is bountiful. we should not. We should. That I would strongly suggest we don't go through there.
You have very little choice.
There must be some way around that. Tubes. Lieutenant
I
Strange.
don't particularly fancy going through any miscellaneous tubes in the walls in a weird Cardassian research facility that's been left for 4 centuries after doing who knows what.
No, but walking through the rampant biological development of 600 years of an alien plant species is going to be
500 years.
400 years.
It's going to be completely reasonable for the health of all of us. And I am so sorry, 400 years. Clearly, that makes all of the difference. Those 200 years, they really tamp down their pathogens and microbes that affect outside forces. I'm sure Gal Elrod will be completely fine, but the rest of us could be ripped to shreds by some unknown plant species. Or worse, poisoned.
What makes you so convinced in this idea that there's flesh-eating bacteria or microbes or pathogens? Where does this come from?
Clearly, I am catastrophizing if I suggest microbes and flesh-eating bacteria, but nevertheless, the effects of an unknown alien plant species on people who have never had any contact with it, which has not been properly documented.
But where has this idea come from? What basis is there for this?
The basis that we are trapped below ground in a place where hundreds of people have mysteriously died.
There is no connection.
Well, since I know how to avoid getting clubbed into the head with a brick or whatever it was that killed most of them.
You're not listening to me. There's no connection between what we've seen.
What evidence do you have? You're not Lieutenant Strange. Who's the other one?
Casey. I'm Casey.
Okay. What evidence do you have, Ensign Casey, that it's safe? Other than apparent blind
The burden
faith?
of proof isn't on me.
It's all
to
that we
prove
get
a
of
negative-
Starfleet officers bickering about unperceived threats and cowering at shadows.
Enough. All of you. We will take every due protocol. We will travel through this room together. We will not become separated. And Dr. Borov, if it is of such great fear to you, remain vigilant about the effects you feel are being had by plants. Do not touch anything you are not certain of, and stay alert. Understood.
Understood, Commander.
Well, Commander, yes.
Understood, Commander.
Shall we?
Landra does not have coffee. She wishes she had
tea.
coffee. And that's tea, actually.
It's not poison, it's tea.
You proceed through the long grass. it's a little bit difficult in places, pushing it aside. You've got to pick your feet up because there's undergrowth very much by now. And you begin to press forward. Can I get notice checks off everyone?
Oh, go. Where's that gone?
Oh, Elrod rams his face into something and it doesn't see shit.
Crit success.
Oh,
Which comes out at 7 overall. No.
That's a dumb number.
Yeah, no, 7.
Mm-hmm. Forgot +2 notice, yeah?
Yep.
Elrod gets, that's a minus.
Lemons.
Gets a -2.
Potato.
Too busy being incredibly self-important.
Yeah, he's too busy being sick of your shit.
I mean, who can blame him?
What I
There is a
notice
lot.
my lack of patience.
What? 3 and 4.
Okay.
I very briefly forgot that Arcady was not Zal, because that would have changed a lot of the plot so far.
Just
That's-
look around and
This is not the body swap episode yet, is it?
Hey, what's
Just-
up? It's me, Zal. I've been here
just-
all along.
Just picks up Casey. Stop it with your whining. It's fine.
Here, look, you're on a crate now. I can reach
This is your think about what you've done, Crane.
As you pick your way through the long grass, all of you can hear, I mean, maybe not Elrod, all of you can still hear
All of us except Potato.
the slightest distant, when I say rustling, it sounds, there is like the sound of the plant life moving, but you can feel the ventilation systems and the faint breeze from that. And so most of it sounds like almost as if you were outside, you would hear the breeze. It's all sufficiently steady. It might be a little bit upsetting to some of you, but it is almost certainly that. Except for Adam.
Yay!
He hears at a bit of a distance, coming from sort of to the left of where they headed in, there is a different, distant rustling. And it is much less rhythmic. Like that.
So it almost sounds like something else moving, trying to be stealthy through the plant life. Maybe not necessarily trying to
Might
be
just
stealthy.
be very distant.
Might just be distant.
Yeah, sounds like something else moving through the plant life.
So as everybody's moving through the wilderness, Adam will, whenever he hears it, he'll react and kind of just quickly checking off to his left. But he's not going to say anything about it. And after pretty much every time that he's started at the noise, just be kind of, as he brings himself back centered, looking straight ahead. They kind of, don't think about it, try and ignore it, it's not there. That kind of expression, I guess, on his face.
Is he odds or evens? No, wait, assign odds to Talandra and evens to Burov.
Okay.
I'm assigning that. I don't know why I asked this. It fell on you, and then I realized I hadn't specified it. Odds. Odds to Talandra, evens to Burov. Talandra. As you're progressing, I imagine Talandra's probably in the lead.
Yes.
Okay, that makes all the more sense of this, as pretty much
the crew is being sandwiched by my two characters who
Yeah.
are trailing and striding.
yeah. Okay.
There's like Talandra, Elrod?
Elrod.
Yeah, Talandra, Elrod, Strange, Casey.
As Strange is looking pretty much at the exact same time, he will hear something which will draw his attention because Talandra trips. Just something. Long grass, that is a thing. Trips. Eats shit.
Sure.
And, there's a sound, there's that. And when she looks back, there is a fucking skeletal corpse under overgrown everything greenery, which she has just tripped over.
Luckily, I think the character to trip is the one that doesn't have like an inbuilt sort of pride ego thing that would that might affect a human first officer. So she'll turn and look. She'll be more interested in the skeleton in a kind of,
Are you all right?
I am fine.
What happened?
We have found another of the dead personnel.
I suppose it makes sense.
Makes
that some of
sense.
them
There were
might
going to be
die
a
down
few
here.
more.
Elrad offers her a hand.
she will take it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible just at a glance, like Talandra's not medicining to
Yeah.
see, did this person, is this just a skeleton or is this someone that's one of the skull smashy people?
It's difficult to tell after she tripped over it.
Oh yeah.
Looks
Looks like someone kicked his ribs in.
Yeah,
It looks like somebody about the size and weight of, I'd say, a Vulcan fell on this man's head.
Yeah, it's a pretty smashed up skeleton, but it's difficult to tell when this smashing occurred.
Smashing.
Could quite possibly be that some foul play happened or that the body decomposed here and has been disrupted by the growth of the plants around it.
Well, we'll probably find more down here somewhere.
It also means that if we, in our informal tally of dead personnel, find some of them missing, it may well be that the balance of errors would decide that there are more out there somewhere.
Very possibly.
It cannot simply have been chance that I tripped on the only one in this entire facility.
About 40 unaccounted for.
Anyway. She will dust herself down and walk off.
You press on, and eventually reach the ground's kind of open. You step onto gravel, actually, you think that roughly, because now you can see as you step out into this clearing that you're roughly in the center of this area, and in the middle is a short metal isolated standalone structure, like a very large metal shed. The door, which is shut, it's a handle, it's one of the swinging kinds. And you're in about a 20-foot radius, 30-foot radius clearing.
Clearing, you say?
Yeah, with the gravel. And the shed in the middle.
'Tis curious that no plants have encroached upon this area.
Strange, I'll just sort of give the ground a slight kick to see how compacted it is. And
It's pretty compacted gravel. Who knows what's underneath it?
yeah. Seems fairly well built to me. It's not.
Talandra is going to approach the shed.
Okay.
I will fall in step with Talandra.
Okay. You, as is Elrad, so Casey gets to step up next to Elrad.
We're all moving up to the shed.
By the door.
Yeah, but this time, if Casey tries to muscle it, I'll just shove him over. Go away.
So annoying, you twerp.
Get in the dirt, Ensign.
The door, this door, there's a handle. Tandra can try it. It rattles.
Is it the sort of thing that feels like it could be like a jammed door that could be forced?
Yeah.
She will do that.
Okay. You know what? I just don't want to re-enter into the doorpocalypse that we had of last time.
She's also
a Vulcan.
She's also one of the strongest people. I think she's the strongest member of. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the strongest person here. Otherwise, it's humans and Cardassians. And Cardassians have no greater strength.
They're a hardy, tough folk. But
yeah. Elrad is a tough Cardassian, but he's not a Vulcan. Talandra busts this door open, and the door swings open to show a dark, but you've got the light stemming from the doorway to show a fairly small shed, effectively, containing various amounts of farming hand equipment.
This might actually help traverse the grass.
Potentially.
Okay.
Although we are not here to farm, we are here to progress.
No, but I mean, simply to cut it down to length so we have an easier time.
I'm aware what you meant, Anson. I simply do not wish for this to become another side escapade.
That wasn't my intention.
I am certain that it wasn't. Quick search over for anything that could be.
You go into the shed. Who else is going into the shed? Okay,
Me.
Casey goes into the shed.
How big's the shed?
Burov is not going
You
into the shed.
you could all fit in there, but like, yeah, okay. Elrad.
Stranger's going to stay outside. He sees no reason to go into the shed.
Okay.
Casey
Alright.
could probably handle whatever's in the shed.
I
Elrad
can,
stays
thank
by
you.
the door. Strange, while you're waiting outside. It's a little difficult. There's a bit of the clattering of the inside as people are looking through stuff. You hear that rustling. Getting louder.
I'm thinking about it.
Then you hear, at about the same time where Burov will become aware of this, at the distance in that direction, there is now a faint whirring noise and a thud. Thud. Rustle, 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 rustle. Something is coming through the tall grass towards you at reasonable speed.
Lieutenant Strange, do you hear that?
What do you hear?
I'm hearing something in the grass. I'm hearing something in the grass. And earlier I did see something moving, but I thought it was just my imagination. But now I don't think it was my imagination. I think I
There is
definitely...
something about 7 feet tall coming through the tall grass towards you.
Commander! Commander!
As at about that point, bursting through the tall grass into the gravelled area, the automaton that comes through is clearly made as originated as farming equipment. It has twin treads as a solid foundation, a metal torso above it, a sort of domed which ends in a bit of a dome. That was what you could see. It has 2 arms, which are big metal, good joints, and I really tried to find a better way of phrasing it than grabby metal mitts at the end.
Pincers. Claws.
Pincers, yeah.
Pincers, yes. Big industrial sort of pincers at the end of it. And it is fucking coming at you and the shed.
Bye.
So this is the point where we are going to roll notice for initiative.
Oh fuck!
You
We've never had to
beautiful
roll
boy.
initiative.
How do
I'd also
you...
like to say that Burov has indicated once maybe there's a robot we can make friends with earlier, and I almost lost my shit. You
There's a robot. We can make friends.
Initiative is
Roll.
just a straight up
Notice.
notice roll.
Garbage. Oh no, not garbage. 0.
Hang on, I'll go through you all at.
I'm better than Sam. Wait, I'm Sam. I'm better
You're
than
Sam.
Adam. I'm
Yeah, of
better
course
than my
you're-
boyfriend.
Of course, you're better than me.
I am. And I'm glad you acknowledged it. Here on live TV.
Okay. Yeah, no, we're at a fight now.
We're in a fight.
Shit.
Okay, did anyone get 6 or above?
No!
Okay,
No.
that's fine.
Oh
We're
no!
potato people.
You might have rolled really well. 5. 4. Okay, Elrad is going.
What's the robot's initiative?
3.
Oh, 3, Talandra.
The adults go first.
2. 1.
One.
Arkady Burov.
Okay, the bot.
Who are you calling a butt?
You're a
Burov.
butt.
I think
And
Strange is the butt here because he's going
Casey.
last.
And then, what number Strange on?
0.
Okay. So for this round of this, Elrad's turn is to be startled
out
and
the
to
shed.
notice what the fuck is going on as Burov is yelling, "Commander! Commander!" Quite legitimately.
Look, Burov is useful in this situation. Burov summoned the help.
As this fucking bot is coming. Talandra, you are being called for. There is a whirring noise and the sound of treadmills on gravel outside.
We are in this shed full
Yep.
of equipment.
Yep.
What manner of equipment?
What kind of thing are you looking for?
Vulcan.
A Vulcan.
I'm a Vulcan who can help. Vulcan. So
As opposed to all us useless chuckle fucks.
something long, like I grew up in farm country, but I can tell you nothing about farm words.
You could find something which is a long, thick, pretty sturdy metal pole, because I'm going to redeem one of the minor helps from this one from the model railwayman for you to find what you
President of the Aid Brigade.
Mm-hmm.
I think basically what she's looking for, she's not looking for anything particularly sharp, but she's looking for like the densest, strongest looking stick that she can find.
Okay, yeah, you can find a sturdy pole, depending on if you want pole arm length or like bastard sword length.
Pole arm length is definitely more her jam.
I'm so glad that we can all use this for nice, convenient things. Yeah, you can grab that and burst outside and see this thing barreling towards a lot of you, and that is your turn. It's go as it comes bearing down at the person who was not inside the shed and did not immediately turn running for help. Adam Strange. And it is.
Oh no.
This is going to be a time for an opposed fight check, Adam, as this thing comes towards you, swinging one of these great big metal arms.
Can I just say that I die before I even roll because I have nothing?
I am going to allow you have at your disposal, and I love the way this is going to work. 4 currently minor helps from people, which I will allow you to use for essentially the equivalent of a free advantage invocation.
It's 3 minor helps.
There's 2 from 3. Sorry, yes, I used 1.
My God, I actually rolled positive 1.
Okay, it rolls
15. We're about to die.
Okay, it gets a 4, so you get
an advantage. Wouldn't help either then.
No, but you say you could either reroll or add or spend one of the minor. You can spend a minor help to either reroll or add a +2.
I'd have to crit to get above.
Yeah.
Bear in mind,
I have
degrees
0.
of success matter in combat because that affects how much damage you possibly.
Also, we're not going to be able to spend all the helps we get because people help us every 2 seconds. So, like, put your hands in the hands of fate. It's a game of fate.
Do as you wish, Emma.
Oh,
just
go on,
highlighting your choices.
I'll reroll. Do I have to take whatever the reroll is?
Yes.
Cool.
-5.
-5.
Fuck it up and die, idiot.
Oh my God, I critted. Holy shit.
Someone clip it.
5.
I'd have to
5. Okay.
to succeed.
You succeed by 1 shift as this thing comes barreling at you. Yeah, it swings its big metal arm. You just duck and kind of
just duck and roll, basically.
Yeah, duck and roll to the other side of it, away.
No, it's not going to be as graceful as ducking and rolling.
No,
a bit more kind of like
evade.
No, it's more like instead of like duck, hit the deck and combat roll out of the way. It's more a kind of just flings himself sideways.
You fling yourself
probably
sideways.
Lands on the ground fairly hard in the process of flinging himself out of the way of this grabby robot monstrosity.
Yeah, it swings around. Because it didn't do that, it then does that. So you have 2. Okay, then it's Burov's turn.
I would like to compel an aspect, which I feel is reasonable, because I'm going to compel lover, not a fighter, and Burov is going to just like having alerted the troops, is just going to sink against the wall of the shed and cover their head.
Inside or outside the shed?
Outside. They have not been able to get in the shed. They banged on the metal wall and are just going to curl up.
You hunker the fuck down, have a fate point as you are compelled by your own trouble for love and not a fighter. But yes, for the purpose of anyone who wishes to act against the robot, its aspects are automaton designed for work, big and strong, and versatile limbs with reach.
Versatile limbs with reach. That one sounds relevant.
Casey!
I'm going to do much the same as Talandra. However, the equipment I would like to grab, because I've still got the mentality of whatever's going on outside, we need something to see ourselves through the grass. So I'm going for more of a sickle. Like just a nice small...
Sickle or shears?
Shears will do.
You can grab some shears. That's going to cost you one of the helps, so you have 1 help left.
Boom. And then I'll go outside.
You can grab something and burst outside.
Oh no, my boyfriend is being attacked by a robot.
Yeah, with this whirring thing.
Oh.
Faceless thing. Strange.
Okay.
Can I just say, I like the idea that given Casey's current disposition, it's more, you call that getting attacked by a robot? I'll do it better.
Let me.
Okay.
Right, what is the robot doing at the minute?
It has all of this has all happened within the exact same 3 seconds, so it's barely past you, and is kind of skidding to a bit of a stop to kind of face the shed and the thronging of people near the trio who burst out the shed. And you're kind of on the far side of it.
Okay, so it's stopped.
Yes, it's just skidding to a stop right now.
Okay. Let me just check some numbers. How badly will
If you
that
want
go?
to try to grapple it to do some engineering, we're going to be starting off with an athletics check.
That's what I figured, which is the number I was checking. So, given that it's currently stopped, I would like to try and climb onto the robot so I can start just trying to dismantle it, basically.
That is going to be an opposed athletics check.
Excellent. That is a 3.
It gets a 4.
No, sorry, that was the dice. That's a 4. That's a 1. I can count. It is also a 4.
It is a matched, which is a succeed at a minor penalty.
Cool.
Which means that
I'm assuming it's something like I get whacked in the face.
You are indeed going to get clipped as these limbs, which are not. Yeah, these limbs, obviously, they can go backwards. Like, of course they can go backwards. But
they can go backwards.
Part of your mind was just thinking, it's not
like,
facing
it's basically
me.
over there. It's not going to do something like this.
Yes, so you come in, lunge up onto the back of it, but you get clipped. Take a, I'm going to make you take fill one stress box for getting lightly bruised as you come swinging your way up on top of it. Top of the round, it's Gal Elrad who's going to invoke that final help to have grabbed. Yeah, he's going to probably have gone for like shears as he comes. And is just
two-barreled blaster rifle.
And is just going to hot-foot it directly for this fucking bot. What is your fight around? You're pretty tasty. Someone has to have some ranks in the fight skill.
I have ranks in the fight skill.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
yes.
The adults have ranks in fights. Everybody else.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You might be looking at the wrong one.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure who I'm saying that to. But...
I have 1 rank in the fight skill. I'm
do
looking
you?
at it.
Okay, I can't see it on the fake character sheets that we've got, but I believe you.
Yeah, no, it says, I've just looked at Talandra's there. There is 1 point of fight.
Okay, I just see science, law, notice, and investigation.
What? Are we looking at different...
Are you looking at Burov?
No. It's fine. I just Izzy to have her character sheet. Like, that's fine.
Oh, wait, you mean I could have really lied? Oh, I have 4 ranks and several aspects called best damn fighter ever.
Okay, he gets a flat nothing on the dice, so, and it gets +1 on the dice, so it beats him. It succeeds with style. Okay.
Succeeds with style, eh?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
That is a thing. It succeeds with style. Elrad comes running up at this thing, clearly trying to utilize any of the distraction provided by Strange, and it's however, he tries to duck under one. The arm kind of swings and then reverses its swing at him, and he gets clipped right around the side, hits the deck, rolls, takes a that takes a 2 stress hit, because that is a thing that this thing can do.
Do not laugh at your stepdad getting hurt, Casey.
He's not my real
Talandra.
dad.
I forget. How do I know how many stress boxes?
Did you
I've
say
got? Because
Talandra?
that doesn't. say
You
it
have
here.
2, I'd expect.
Yeah,
Yeah, Talandra.
Oh, me. Very well. Chandra has come out. The lay of the land is currently a cowering doctor, a downed engineer, and
No, the engineer's on the
No,
back.
I'm
Engineer's
on the
its
robot.
back. Well, back, front, it doesn't really tell. It's on it. It's clinging
I'm on the
to
robot.
it. What was that 2?
That was how many stress boxes that Strange has.
Cool. So
You
I've
have a
got one
1
left.
and you have a 1 and a 2. So you could mark off the 1, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I've
got
yeah.
2 left.
You can mark up if you take more than 3 points of damage. You move on to consequences.
That'll happen.
The robot transports itself on caterpillar tracks.
Yes.
Is the mechanism by which it turns and becomes versatile open or encased?
It appears to be quite solid, attached to the caterpillar tracks, and kind of smoothly rotates from that point.
In which case, either the caterpillar tracks or the twisty thing, whichever you think would be more visible if Talandra is effectively doing a full scan before diving in, she is going to try and immobilize one part of it by ramming the pole into it.
You can have probably the treads. So make me a
cat tracks are fairly fragile
fight
things from the number of times I've seen them fall off things.
An opposed fight check.
And I would like to tag an aspect for a +2. Which is poised adrenaline junkie, because she is effectively looking for the perfect moment to strike, and then she is not being afraid of getting hit because she is calculating the exact moment that it's going to spin. Perhaps not accurately, but
yeah. Five. Okay, yeah. It gets a 2, so that is a 3 shift, which uses up one of its stress boxes. As Talandra comes
basically
in,
sliding in.
Yeah, slides the thing in. It jerks up some of the things. It does, like, after a moment of whirring, the treads do kind of re-establish themselves and jerks the tread free, but there is rattling, like it has messed up something a bit in there. Which probably more movement is only going to do some harm. It is the bot's turn. It is first going to attempt to deal with... Yeah, it's going to try to deal with Strange. So
what am I rolling?
It is going to make a fight check against you.
Fuck. Not quite a crit in the opposite direction, but very nearly. -4.
Jesus.
I think he's dead.
It didn't roll very well.
But it didn't roll that badly.
In fact, actually,
it didn't roll -4 badly.
Actually, it did roll -4.
Really?
However, its fight skill brings that
one.
up. It has one, so it beats you by 3 shifts, which means
Holy fuck.
that your options are to take a minor consequence and fill up your last stress, and the consequence would be like cracked ribs, something like that.
Tempting. That's quite tempting. What are my other options?
Just go straight to a mid-level, more serious consequence.
Ooh. What kind of thing? What kind of thing?
A minor consequence will basically go away by the end of the very next. By the end of the next scene, if it is appropriately treated. A moderate consequence will be there basically for the rest. For the rest of the session.
rest of the session. Okay. What kind of thing would a moderate consequence be? Here?
To be
Just
fair,
only kind
a
of like
minor
scale of...
would be more like bruised, more in the veins of sprained ankles, etc., etc.
Okay, and like cracked ribs would be the kind of
cracked
scale
ribs
of
would be
a moderate.
moderate. I need to double check if it's end of session or end of story, to be fair, but we can check that. I can check that at the end of the session.
Both of those quite tempting. Oh, how much do I want to fuck him up?
A lot.
I mean, yeah, but like both of these fuck him up. So what do I go for? I'm gonna let's see. Odds it's the minor, evens it's the moderate. That's a 2, so I'm taking the moderate.
Okay, you take just the moderate. You keep your last physical stress box, and you take some cracked ribs as this thing flails, hits you. And I'm gonna have to ask for another athletics check to stay on.
Have I got anything that I can use to help here? I can fix it, but might have to improvise. This isn't really relevant yet.
And you're all out of helps.
And I'm all out of helps. -1.
Oh, no, you
Off
get
we
cracked
go.
and go flying and hit the deck. That is
I suspect the cracked ribs probably happened when I hit the deck.
Yeah,
there's a kind of like
clocked, sent flying, hits the deck. It utilizes its ability, which is a riposte, which is a follow-through. Once per conflict, when you inflict a physical consequence on an opponent, you may also inflict a 2-point physical hit on another opponent. So as this thing rotates hitting, it then spins back, and Talandra, you are going to take, I guess you could take a minor consequence, or just to fill in your 2-point stress box as Talandra is clocked by this thing.
Given that she was expecting it, I imagine she takes the 2-point stress because what she's done is turned so it's hit her across the back or something, which is nasty, but
but she'll be all right.
Absolutely fine. You take in the 2-point stress as you are battered, but you roll with the impact of its heavy machinery. Burov.
Hello. Burov here from work. I can't see a circumstance in which Dr. Burov doesn't just
cower.
Yeah, like they are not statted for a fight.
That's fine.
And they are really scared.
Casey.
Poor Bean.
I'm mad at this robot for what it's done to my beloved and to my mentor. I need to stab it in the dome with these shears. That's going to be my play.
Okay. Let's have a fight off.
You're Adam Strange.
You don't have any points in fight.
Yeah, I know. It comes down to straight dice roll. Let's go. 3.
Okay. You succeed by 1. However, something which I forgot, which I had noted, it has armor. So I also forgot that also does bonus damage, so that's fine. I forgot it's the things which hurt you. I forgot the things, but yeah, I haven't laid these out in the best way because I'm very rusty with fate. As you come running in and clong, like you hit, but it doesn't really go particularly deep. That's metal padding.
Well, at least I'm close for its razor sharp arm.
Strange.
Sitting up and probably coughing a bit after being winded on the ground. What is the robot doing at this point? It's clocked me. It's swung around and clocked Talandra.
Yeah, it's got Elrad's still picking himself up. So the only two people who are close to it right now are Casey and Talandra. Burov is
Burov's
kind of in melee. It's standing its ground, mostly using its rotation to come in and flail its damn arms at you.
Yep. Presumably most of the flailing is currently happening in the opposite direction since I've been thrown this way. And
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Literally the only thing that I can think of, and therefore the thing that I will do. It's distracted. It's busy.
You're gonna try again.
Dust ourselves off and have another go.
Throw yourself again at this thing. Make me another athletics check.
Or actually, do I want to do that, or do I want to grab a tool to use on the whilst I'm on it?
You have tools again in your kit, but
Oh yeah,
you
I've got
probably have
tools
to
on
take
me.
the rounds to like find something.
Yeah, that's fine.
to pull
But I can do
something
that
else.
when I'm on the robot, because having it in my hand will just make it harder for me to climb
Okay.
onto the robot.
You want to come running at it and get on?
Yeah, let's have another go.
Okay.
That's 0 on the dice. My number's 1. I have a 1.
Well, it critically failed. So
Yes!
you again. It really hurts.
It really hurts, but
This really hurts. As yet again, Adam Strange flings himself up to grapple and get atop this bloody thing, which continues
And
to.
whilst I'm here,
flail.
I'm gonna try and kind of hook an arm round something so that if it does have another go at me,
Mhm.
it's less likely to throw me
That
up.
would be creating an advantage, and is going to be your action next time.
Cool. I'll not do that then.
Yeah.
Yet.
Elrad's go. Come on. -1. Okay. Okay. He gets. He gets +4. It gets a -1 plus 3, so it gets a 2. So he succeeds by 2. However, it has armor. Okay. Elrad dusts himself up with the shears. Comes running in at it, moving around to flank the opposite side to where Talandra was, and drives these shears up into the body of it, kind of where the rotationary point was. It does pierce it, and there is a but the thing is still going. Talandra.
Can I ask,
Mm-hmm.
throughout the past round of combat, what has been the most mobile part of the?
Its rotation. It's mostly been relying upon its rotating and to be able to use its arms, which have quite a lot of reach, as none of you all have backed off, so it hasn't needed to move its treads particularly.
And it's got its arms bend, which is why it's able to attack.
Its arms have like 360 rotation capabilities, and also at the elbow can go around.
Looking at it, does it look like it has any blind spots or like difficult to reach spots? Having now seen a couple of rounds of it lashing out.
Flush against it, roughly kind of a similar point to where Strange is fairly.
Except Strange is on top, which kind of is accessible to the arms.
Yes, but sort of coming in slightly lower and close up against it, it would be probably harder for it to get, but also you'd have less maneuverability.
Okay. Then I think what Talandra is going to do is, having jammed the strong metal bar into its treads, confident at least that if it tries to move, it'll drag the metal bar back into it. She's going to flatten herself against the side of the Combine Harvest bot, and she is going to wait for it to move, and kind of, as it were, hold an action to wait until it exposes a moving part.
I am going to ask for a will difficulty 1 for you to create the advantage for yourself, because I think that's about nerves and staying still.
Of course, I will do this for you. You asked to mute, so I'm shaking my dice over here. Oh, well, that would be 7.
Jesus.
I have a really good will. I have a bonus.
A Vulcan with a really good will, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, you create for yourself, waiting for the right the advantage, waiting for the right moment with 3 free invocations. So essentially,
what does that mean?
Invocations are essentially like what you do when you get the fate points, where you can add a +2 or re-roll, and you can use this poise waiting for the right moment in the same way you could use a personal aspect. but you have 3 freebies of reroll or add +2. So you could add a +6 to one roll or space them out until this is no longer a thing because you just succeeded like obscenely. I don't even remember what the technical term is.
She's basically done the thing where she's gone into a sort of Vulcan meditation of
Also, I would allow you to use them defensively if you so wished. Okay. Bots go. It is, however, now pretty mad at Elrad as the person who's just lately stabbed it. So
not me.
Gets 5. Elrad gets not a 5. Elrad gets -2, so Elrad gets a 1. So Elrad fails by 4. And it gets a +1 because it does additional damage. So it's a 5. Elrad is taking a consequence. He's using one of his stress and he's taking a consequence.
What consequence?
Elrad takes is clipped by this thing as it sort of rounds, and both arms come swinging. He misses one and doesn't take the other. It all happens very quickly, so it's a little difficult to tell exactly what happens, but he's definitely clipped around the head as there is a bit of a spurt of blood, and he sort of twists and hits the deck. He is moving, but he has just been clobbered.
Clung to the back of the head.
Mm-hmm.
Or front of the head.
Yes. But it used its follow-through ability, which it cannot use again. So Burov is cowering. Is he? Are they?
Yeah. Since Strange decided to recklessly throw himself back into danger, the only thing Burov can do is continue to. Actually, I think having watched the situation, Burov is watching the shed, but is too paralyzed to crawl to more safety.
Yeah. Okay. Burov watches in horror. Casey.
These whippy round pincer arms. I also have effectively a pincer with my shears, and it's armored, which is shit. So I want to try and effectively get it in an arm wrestle with these shears. So put both of my hands behind the shears and try to snatch a pincer, and then just kind of yank it to the side and try and keep it there.
Okay, make me a athletics check.
That is a mere 2.
Okay. It gets 4,
No.
5,
No.
6.
No.
No. What can it do?
No.
Kill him. That's what it can do.
We
were talking earlier about losing arms.
Instead of taking the boost, which it would get from succeeding with style on this defense, it is going to use its riposte to choose to inflict a 2-shift hit upon you. And because of the obscene, it's going to spend a fate point to invoke big and strong, as well as you try to get this piece of automated farming machinery in a contest of strength.
You make it sound like it was a bad idea, which I disagree with, and I'm going to write a thesis on why. And
as it spends the point, 1, those shears are shattered by it.
I needed those.
And it swings again, as it shattered, it swings out, and Casey is clipped and takes a 2-point. I don't know if you want to use a stress. I think you've still got some stress left.
I do have some stress left.
Yeah, you're fine, but you do take that. Or if you want to take a minor consequence, I fucking guess.
No, I don't want to show Adam up that much. I'll take the stress.
You take that as you are staggered back. Adam Strange.
Well, I'm on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start what looks like the most obvious way of turning this thing off.
Probably starting to remove some of the paneling around the dome and seeing what the fuck is in there.
Cool. Let's rip off some of the paneling that's on the dome.
Okay, you're gonna make an engineering check, and I'm going to give this thing. It's gonna get a. Yeah, make me an engineering check. I'm gonna set the difficulty at 3 because of the circumstances that you're
Yep,
in.
That's fine.
So you need a 4 or more to succeed.
That is a 5.
Okay.
I rolled 2 6s.
Yeah,
on the
you
dice.
succeed as getting these tools in and whirring as this top
Just-
panel comes fucking flying off, and this thing begins to whirl.
Cool.
That is your go.
Mhm.
Actually, considering, no, you succeeded. I would have probably made you make a check if you'd failed the engineering check to see if you can stay on the damn thing.
Yeah.
Top of the round, Elrad picks himself up. Blood is streaming down the side of his face. And he is gonna come in and have a go at this thing. I tend to roll and describe, so we'll see. Oh, that's pretty good. It gets okay. Yeah, Elrad does pretty well. Elrad, he's pretty staggered, so he's a little bit sluggish, so it doesn't work out quite as well as he probably would have hoped it would have been, as he comes in with the shears and he drives them into the weak point which Talandra had made earlier. There is a bit of a crackling and snapping as in fact, yeah, one of the treads does start to buckle and kind of tear and is coming loose, but it is not yet out for the count. Talandra. And this has also been probably a bit of a distraction for it.
Talandra about to take advantage of, like, effectively waiting for a few seconds for the perfect moment. It having turned to strike at Casey, I'd like to think, like,
and the domed top, which has exposed wiring, and probably the light of a computer core in there somewhere.
So that's all in the kind of upper body of the thing. What Talandra is going to do is actually, I suppose, she's been waiting for the perfect moment, which is when it swung out to attack Casey, when the buckling caused it to slightly destable, for it to like lift slightly.
Tilt. Yep.
And in that moment to probably trap her fingers, because she abandoned the very sturdy stick, to put her effort into like raising it the fraction of a centimeter that she can, because it's very heavy metal, and doing whatever shenanigans she can do to jam the body of her phaser under that gap, because it is depowered and doesn't work, but hopefully the power mechanism that is within it will cause Treknobabble damage
into the
maybe an explosion. The gap between the core and the body.
Right. Okay. Make me.
It's not an explosion.
Goodbye, Adam. Make me a fight check, and remember you have 3 free invocations.
Yes. Well, what I intend to do is a couple of things this round, so I intend to use my invocations to achieve them.
Okay. It's rolled quite well.
Am I rolling?
Fight for starters.
Okay, so that's 5 fight.
Okay. That matches it. So if you want to succeed,
I would like to succeed, so I'd like to spend one of my invocations.
You spend one of your invocations and jam that thing in there. What else do you wish to do before I clear it in one round?
Am I content that I have done whatever is necessary? Like perhaps trying to short it so that it thinks it's, when you when something doesn't have power and it turns on for a few seconds, enough that it'll get hot and do the thing. Because I would like to jam it in and effectively run over the top of it and drag Strange off the top of this robot, because if it does blow up, she doesn't want it to blow up the engineer.
Okay, I will allow this sequence then of events. So the thing has come swinging. Casey has distracted it with his plan as it shatters this, and he takes a clock coming back. From one side, Elrad jams his shears into the weak point that Talandra had already made, making it tip, and she, coiled like a fucking snake, strikes, jamming to onlookers. They're like, what? As she just appears to jam her phaser into the computer core. And she moves, going to grab Strange, who probably is not going to particularly resist at this stage, as Talandra can leap, grab, kind of tuck and roll. And for a moment, as this thing flails, Talandra hits the deck, Strange hits the deck. I imagine Casey and Elrad at least take a bit of a step back.
I'm happy to spend all the rest of my invocations to have landed
Yeah.
with Strange kind of held so that he doesn't take more stress.
You are successful. I mean, technically you have to spend them because they're about to become worthless. So yes, as a sequence of events, you pull this off seamlessly. As this thing turns, and then there's just sort of a spark and a fizz, and it stops as smoke starts to billow out the top, and it downpowers with a whoo. And then it starts to kind of burn.
Talandra stands up.
Well, I can confirm that is a circa 19th century agricultural automaton.
Very hardy.
They're designed for heavy lifting and to survive against the elements and carry on for long periods of time unsupervised.
Well, it's definitely capable of heavy lifting.
Talandra effectively shucks Strange off her none too gently and is going to go and rescue her big metal staff. With a really not angry but a really aggressive wrench.
Yep.
I'm gonna head over to Adam and call over to Burov. Doctor. Doctor, we need you.
Now you need me. And what part of your hypothesis and supposition, Ensign Casey, told you that there was nothing to be fearful in the grass? Borov is going to slouch past him.
I never said there was anything to be fearful in the grass. I said that you
No,
had no...
I did. I said that we should be afraid of the grass. You were too busy trotting around after Lieutenant Commander Talandra to even think that I might be right for once. Come here, Adam. Let me take a look at you.
Yeah, I'll be fine. You should probably have a look at Gul Elrod first. That's a nasty blow to the head.
Gul
Elrod
is a big, strong boy, and he will tell me if he needs help. But in the meantime, I am the doctor here, and I say, you look green.
Yeah. You may make me a medicine check, Doctor.
I was disputing the pathogens.
It's a difficulty 1.
Oh, 3.
Oh, no, wait, it's a moderate, actually, so it's got to get a plus. You have to get a 4.
Well, I got a 3, and I'm willing to tag... What am I willing to tag? Who are you? This Dr. Burov of legend. I think in this circumstance, given the fact that they are quite het up and got annoyed at Ensign Casey, but then seeing Strange basically holding himself
his
together and
ribs
going
together.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'm fine. Don't bother with me.
I'm going to tag. I will succeed with kindness, compassion, and joy because they are shrugging through the stress.
Okay, that is enough then for you to succeed. This does not eradicate the consequence. However, a consequence is something which theoretically anyone could use as an aspect against you to spend a fate point. So right now, cracked ribs is something which could be utilized to quite easily. With the success of Starfleet medical attention, it is still going to remain as a moderate consequence, but it is just sore healed ribs or some.
Okay.
Well, good news. It's not.
Does it
going
say
to
it's a
get
moderate, or
any
does it change
worse.
down to a
It's
minor?
still a moderate.
Still a moderate. Cool.
So it's
Easy
not going
problem.
to get any worse, and you haven't perforated anything, and nor shall you. But that is
Good.
going to be a slow heal, and I'm not going to be able to get a proper look at it until we're back on the Iskandar. So the best I can do is I will give you some pain relief now, but I suggest not bending or jogging or letting someone playfully poke you in the side.
I will see what I can do to prevent any of those things occurring.
Okay.
I make no guarantees.
Doctor, now you've seen to the lieutenant, who I agree was more likely to be in severe need. I would appreciate any assistance.
Right, of course. Come here. Let me take a look.
He will
I'm not the
head
most
over.
well.
Tall man, bend down for average height, doctor.
Small doctor.
Hey,
Tiny-
Average
tiny
height,
doctor.
doctor.
5'5".
Oh, huge.
Live the dream.
Hey, I lie awake at night dreaming of 5'5".
Yeah. So yes, make me a medicine check. Difficulty 1. So you needed 2 or more.
Casey's just muttering at this time.
Okay, I'm
Is he still
scared-
stood next to Strange?
Yeah. It's,
Um,
it's
He's still just grumbling about Borov?
I'm fairly well versed with Cardassian physiology, so
I believe that as a head wound, it's more likely to be bleeding worse and make it look worse than it is. But
of course, yes, but also
head wound, never fun.
also given the propensity you could have had for cracking the ridges on your forehead, which is superficial but could lead to long-term damage, I'm going to have a good look. And with my +6 on the dice roll, I think I'm going to do pretty well. I am the doctor.
there's
Yeah.
2 of them now.
Yeah, you completely running the dermal regenerator up over the.
Bad news, Gal
injury.
Elrod. It won't even leave a dashing scar.
Well, I will take that over it having potentially shattered my perfect profile.
Oh no, your profile is quite intact.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
You're welcome. I'm sorry I went to pieces a little, but I don't. It's, you know.
You're the physician and you stayed out of trouble.
Talandra is stood
Mm-hmm.
off to the side. Again, her face is the expression that people on her crew know as she is working at keeping it as expressionless as is humanly possible, but she is stood holding the staff and sort of watching the smouldering
Mm-hmm.
farm equipment in that way that goes, I'm watching the fire because I'm not engaging with any of this because
Oh, unless someone else gets there first, Elrod will head over after Burov's seen to him. Okay, it's over. Commander, are you unharmed?
I imagine bruised, but not damaged.
So you imagine, should the doctor take a look?
The doctor can look once they have finished with the rest of you. I was struck across the back. I deliberately
Doctor.
landed the blow there. I am well. Like Burov is there as approaching Casey, who got properly clobbered. Like, huh? I think probably Ensign Casey is.
By all means. But afterwards, please see to the commander.
Is sort of jabbing at Casey with a.
Please. No. Ow.
Oh. Well, at
Casey
least your
just-
shoulders match now.
Completely superficial injuries which don't require any statistical
Oh, you
attention.
looked a lot worse than I thought. I thought you were really hurt.
No,
Oh.
I'm fine. Thank you. You can go and tend to Talandra now.
Oh, thank you for the permission to go and do that. I will remember next time you need my permission to do a science.
It's what he does.
Yeah, okay. Barov can approach.
And a cursory glance at Talandra indicates that she is bruised and fine and gets shrugged off by Talandra. And they go,
Well, I've got pain relief if you need it, but I imagine you won't. So, Dr. Borov, can you confirm now that Lieutenant Strange and Ensign Casey are as recovered as they can be from the ordeal we just faced? Yes, I think to the best of my abilities, they're safe to move. I want to keep an eye on Lieutenant Strange, but he'll be okay for now. Unless the GM says otherwise, but I'm pretty confident in my analysis. Very well.
Lieutenant Strange, Ensign Casey, report.
And Strange will go over to Talandra.
Head over.
I want it to be known that when we return to the Iskandar, you two will be facing disciplinary action for your behavior today.
What behavior?
Entirely inappropriate behavior. For both of you. You put yourself and you put the rest of us at risk. Casey, this desire to be the best around you is borderline pathological and puts everyone around you in danger. What did you expect to happen just then when you ran in? That you would suddenly gain years of combat training? That stabbing the armor-plated equipment with a pair of garden shears would be a wise course of action?
I was trying to find some way to enhance...
Do not interrupt when I am talking to you, Ensign.
But I was trying to
Do
find...
you feel so intimidated by the qualities of those around you that you are so incapable of putting your brain to actual use? You are no more a soldier than you are an engineer. You are a scientist. One who has been content to coast on his innate abilities and the goodwill of the officers around him, stagnating in the rank of ensign, incapable of pushing himself forward. And you, Lieutenant Strange, at what point did you think that continuing to perform the same self-destructive task would be the logical course of action? Had you broken your neck when you had been thrown from that device the first time, we would have been robbed of our chief engineer.
Commander.
After Lieutenant Anderson died, we spoke at length about your own feelings of inadequacy to replace her, and I was content that you had moved beyond this borderline suicidal attitude. If it had been your intention to die, rather you had done it before this mission when we actually depended on you. I do not want to hear another word from either of you.
Commander, if I might...
You are both dismissed.
Commander...
And we will talk more on the Iskandar. That is all, Lieutenant. That is all.
Very well, Commander.
Now, if we are quite finished here, it is time we pressed on.
Commander Varen treated me as a soldier.
What did you say to me, Ensign?
I said Commander Varen treated me as a soldier during the Dominion War.
My father treated you as a soldier because he had no other choice. Any child was a soldier in the Dominion War, and look what you have done with the opportunities given to you. You are not a soldier, Samuel Casey. And the moment you decide you are going to be exceptional at the thing you are good at and stop trying to be good at things you are not, will be the day that you actually succeed. Do not mention my father to me again. I have no patience for it. I would that he were here right now instead of you.
Commander, might I suggest that everyone at least takes a breather after the exertions of the fight? And may I have a word, please?
As you wish, Gal Alrad.
Alrad will look at the two and at least give them a small nod, whether they notice or not.
Nope.
Yep.
But pretty much as soon as Talandra kind of walks off, so Strange will have been at least trying to hold himself upright, even if he's kind of starting to crumple. And as soon as she's gone, like all the fight that's in him just sort of slumps out.
Alrad will also carry on with your singing.
Sorry, it's slight. Casey reaches for Strange's hand and just grips it.
Strange doesn't take it.
Oh no.
Strange jerks away from it.
He walks. He goes somewhere else.
Alrad gestures for probably just round the back of the shed, like. Commander.
Go.
I wouldn't presume to tell you how to manage your people.
No, indeed.
However, as we've discussed earlier, with the possibility of you being compromised, we had reached an agreement that I would offer what support I could. And again, I will remind you of, I will presume to remind you, cast out fear, cast out hate and rage, cast out greed and envy, cast out all emotion that speeds entropy, whether it be love or hate. You are not yourself, Talandra.
On the contrary, I can be nothing else. Remind me again your expertise, Skull Alrad.
Expertise in what?
Your training, where it lies.
I am a soldier. I am a soldier, and what I observed back there was bravery and ingenuity in the face of an enemy, and what I observed there was a commander who then deigned to denigrate those efforts by her subordinates.
Bravery alone will achieve you nothing.
No, but bravery in that case also gave us victory, as did the ingenuity.
Bravery in that point could have cost us both of our technical experts.
It might have done. And you expressed above that you believed that you were compromised. I believe that that is absolutely the case. Unless you are in the habit of tearing strips furiously off your subordinates.
Learn reason above all. Learn clear thought. They acted hastily and always act hastily. They were the ones that got themselves kidnapped by a terrorist cell while they wandered off in a water processing plant. They are the ones who wandered hallucinating through the subterranean caves of a diplomatically tenuous location, chasing ghosts.
I cannot speak of these things.
I can speak of my experience that one day their actions are going to get themselves killed.
Perhaps.
Not to mention the people around them. If we had not been there, do you think they would have survived? Do you think Arkady Burov would have survived?
No. And that is our responsibility as soldiers.
And given the circumstances, do not interrupt me. Given the circumstances, I have done my best to explain to them in a rational fashion how they are to improve. And time again, they have slipped backwards into mediocrity and despair. I expect the best of my crew, Gull Elrad, and I expect nothing less of you.
And in orbit, when they were ordered to be on part of your away team, and you were acting much more as I have perceived, and it seems as if they have perceived you too, you did not object for these two apparently subpar officers to be assigned to your away team. When you were outside of this facility, you respected and listened to them. You are compromised, Commander.
My expectations were not met. I am not compromised. I am disappointed.
You are angry.
Would you not be angry if you had been let down so repeatedly? You heard the way he spoke to me.
And it was reprehensible and unacceptable for him to invoke your father, and I am sorry for your loss, and I am sorry.
No, you don't need to lecture me about loss. None of you do.
You mean you do not have to lecture me of Moss? You know nothing about me, Commander Talandra. You have no understanding of what and whom I have lost. You've lost your father. I have lost far more than you can understand.
And I would not seek to. Empathy is a skill that I have had to learn. It does not come easily to me. But no one has ever leveled the cities of Vulcan. And I would not try and tell you of my life. And it is out of line that Ensign Casey did.
I just agreed. Evidently, you are not going to listen to reason. He stalks back to the group.
He stalks back to the group, and the nearest thing to Talandra that is not made of reinforced metal is getting smashed.
Probably a bit of a window in it. Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone will have heard shouting, and then the smash of a
Smashing
window.
of glass.
Alright. You see Elrad pause, look back, carry on, return to the group.
Kath, I've sent you a message.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Oh
it's just
no.
pertinent for you to know.
Oh, Casey's wandered off into the fucking grass, hasn't he?
Casey's climbed into the robot. Like the
He has
Emperor's
wandered
evolved.
off into the grass.
Has
Okay, so
he?
while Strange is internalizing and Burov is... What's Burov doing?
Wherever Strange is sat, Burrow will be sat near-ish. Like, they're
I'm
not
just-
encroaching on his space, but they are not.
Well, he's seething and brooding.
Yeah, so Strange is not going to notice under the circumstances.
No,
Burov
he's too busy.
might.
seething and
It
brooding
depends
at
on
the passage.
Izzy, how aware Burov is of the outside world right now. Feel free to make a notice check. Is Casey trying to be discreet?
Not especially. He's leaving.
Okay, yeah. Let's just
Oh,
make a
wow.
notice.
That's a critical success.
You see
Oh my god.
Casey walk away whilst before the shouting has even started from behind the shed. Casey walks off into the grass, heading the way ahead they were going.
I think what Burov is going to do is wait like 30 seconds to see, is he doing like is he pacing effectively? And if he doesn't come back, Burov's just going to get up and go.
Okay. Burov gets up and goes off into the grass afterwards. Elrad appears.
Strange does not notice that.
Yeah, no one can perceive shit of what Elrad is doing. Here's the smash. Sounds strange. Where's Dr. Burov and Ensign Casey?
They were here a minute ago. What?
Elrad turns and bellows with full, like, military drill sergeant voice. Ensign Casey.
You're not his real dad. He's not going to
Turn
respond to that.
at once.
Yeah,
Given the speed of him having stormed off, I think Burov probably comes back quite quickly, having heard the yell,
Yeah.
and is like,
I don't think I'm gonna.
He's not your real dad.
It's not my real dad. That's my roleplay effect.
He went off. I was going to follow him, but
Right, okay, fine. Which way did he go?
someone should tell the commander. Is she?
Quite angry.
That's not normal.
I'm aware.
No, it's not.
Lieutenant Strange,
Yes, Doctor?
if she's not able to lead us, that means you're in charge.
Strange just does some very quick. Like it's visible that he's going some mental maths of.
no, no,
fuck.
Cantos, no, Vance.
Where are my responsible adults? No, none of them.
Shit.
Shit.
I rather doubt the commander is about to cede authority.
No, I don't think she's going to cede authority, but also, if she wants to kill us, then she can.
I don't think she's that angry.
No, but
Lieutenant, might I suggest that you at least go retrieve the commanding officer from behind the shed? I imagine that I will only make the situation worse at present. Or maybe the doctor.
I think it should be Dr. Burov who goes, as I suspect I too would only make the situation worse.
you just heard how she shouted. She's not supposed to do that. She's not a secret Romulan.
Yes, Doctor, and you also heard how she reacted to myself and the ensign.
Oh God, I'm going to die in this place, aren't I?
Maybe. Well, let's try not dying, shall we?
The lieutenant is right. But also want to say, Lieutenant, in my eyes, I thought you acted bravely and with great ingenuity in that fight.
Thank you.
I'm
sorry to go and argue with yourself.
Sorry, I don't think we quite realised what we were doing. If Barov wants to stand their ground, Elrad won't argue anymore.
Like, Arcady has basically been bobbing on the spot.
Okay.
Clearly.
Yeah, fine. Very, Lieutenant, how about you and I together?
Very well.
I'll stay here in case Ensign Casey comes to his senses.
Yeah.
Very
see if you
well.
Samuel! Samuel, you should come back now. It's not funny.
The two.
Sammy!
Strange and Elrad walk around the back of the shed.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Is
Talandra.
Sandra there?
So Talandra's gone off in the grass. She comes back with Casey.
Oh,
Talandra is doing I'm not spending a fate point on it,
yep.
but she is trying her actual best to meditate. And she, like, all of the windows are broken. And you can see that the kind of the metal cladding on the back of the shed has been dented in places where she has clearly just, like, full strength punched it. And she's going to have some nice bruised knuckles from it later. But she is sat on the floor holding the metal stick and just visibly trying to be calm, which is not a thing that Vulcans should do.
There's a kind of a look passing between Elrad and Strange of, are you going to go? Are you saying first? I thought you were saying first. No, you.
Lieutenant, perhaps you should take the doctor and attempt to bring back Ensign Casey. He doesn't shrug.
Yes, let's do that.
I will stay here.
We'll meet you back here then.
We will not move. You have 30 minutes and then we're coming after you.
Fine. Strange goes back around the front of the shed.
Elrad will take about 20 feet away or so from Talandra, or probably 15 feet, distance is whatever, sits down, cross-legged, kind of within where her line of sight would be if she opened her eyes, but sits down and just sits there and waits. Strange returns to the front to where Burov is waiting.
Right, come on, Doctor. Let's go see where he's gone.
Sorry, yes, sir.
The two of you head off into the long grass in the wake of Ensign Casey. And much later than I wished, I apologize, but I wanted to ride this wave. That's where we're going to leave it for this evening.
Motherfucker!
Yes, Kath. Yes.
Yes, Kath, but also no Kath. Why,
Kath,
Kath?
yes.
Kath,
Kath, yes.
Kath, please.
Kath, yes.
If I could, however, I would play that YouTube clip of Cisco and Vic Fontaine singing "The Best Is Yet to Come." So, thank you very much, folks. I've had a great time. The play's lovely. You're all lovely.
You're lovely.
Izzy.
Love you all.
I just want to say, because everything is hard, I'm sorry, OC, that I raised my voice.
Oh no, it was so good. We were like, oh god, welcome. Mum's shouting and it's all awful. Best day ever.
You invoked Dad. No.
I want you to know.
You told Strange it would be better if he had died earlier.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
No, it was definitely more one of the, if you wanted to kill yourself, don't do it here.
Don't bring logic into this. This is how sad boys interpreting
What do you mean
things.
don't put logic into this? I have literally written her rant out because I was editing it going, no, that wouldn't be the
illogical.
logical thing. Her arguments were completely sound. She just didn't deliver them in anything close to the tactful way.
And they're also being interpreted by irrational sad boys.
Oh no, of course. I knew that. But I also needed them to be watertight in that I could go,
It's not what
she
I said.
She didn't lie. She said the truth.
Yep.
Kath, why are you destroying both my characters? But I was just like,
Destroy all the characters.
but I was like, oh,
Only
I'll fight.
Ethan and Vance left.
Oh, I'll fight. Time to die.
I'm fine.
And Kantos and Zal. They're having a tea party.
We had like the first proper fight
True.
of Fate. Like
Yeah, this is the first proper fight I think we've had in Iskandar.
we did sort of scuffle with Borg drones.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of those scuffles where they were like an environment rather than.
Yeah, I wouldn't really call that a combat. That's more
Yes.
dealing with an environmental problem, whereas this was a combat, which
Yes.
I think is our first.
Yes, I wanted there to actually be something out there at some point.
Shit. Wasn't
Well,
hallucinating.
Or were
That
you?
particular thing.
That particular thing.
I'm fairly sure it wasn't a hallucination, given that it threw me into the dirt twice.
I'm never going to be able to get over Talandra yelling at the boys.
It was amazing.
So good.
Oh no, brilliant. But also,
So good.
I don't know how to internalize Vulcan guilt because of all the
Well-
emotions that they process. Guilt is really hard because they're always right. Like they'll be
Well-
like, "Oh, you did the wrong thing." No, I don't think I did actually. Like, but in this situation,
Oh,
Definitely was the right thing to say that
Yep.
yes.
Casey should have died instead of my dad.
oh no, you brought Commander Varen into this.
Yeah.
Talandra wasn't opening that box.
Ellen
You're the one that
was
went.
like, who the fuck is Commander Varen?
I
Yeah,
like
was
to
a big
think
fan
that
of who the
I like to think that his thought process was like, "What is happening? Oh, don't why? Good God,
Bad boy.
man. Why did you think that was a good argument to make? Commander Varen said I could do it."
I'm like, oh, that moral high ground.
Your
That looks
dad
real.
would have let
That looks
me.
real good, didn't it? And then that's gotta go.
I love that he effectively came out of it and went, "Well done, Strange. You did good."
Nope.
Casey, you fucked up.
He only said it after Casey had left.
That's true. Yeah, if Casey hasn't heard any
Mhm,
praise or
mhm.
what's the opposite?
Condemnation. He hasn't heard shit.
Condemnation.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't had any shit from Galahad.
yeah.
There we go. That'll do.
Oh God, arguing with Galahad was really hard. It made my heart sad.
Oh, I thought you were gonna really go there, but she
That's so
swerved.
So here's the thing. That was the moment where she was, again, it's the logic thing. She's like, "No, Vulcans are fine. Of course I don't have the situation. I don't have the situational awareness to relate to what he's relating to." But she was like, "I'm not trying to do that, dipshit." Oh God.
You've got to sign us off, Izzy.
Oh, hi
Yeah.
guys. Hi. I'm just
It was a lot.
I'm just gonna wallow for a bit. Now is normally the time that I would talk about our lovely patrons, but I can't log in at the moment because it needs a 2-step authorization and my phone is somewhere else. So instead I'm gonna say, hey, if you support us on Patreon, you're great.
We love you.
I can't remember all the names. I'm not going to try because then you'll always forget someone and that's sad. But I am going to say there are a lot of Michaels. And of course, everybody's most belovedly named Trash Fam, Helena Handbasket. But aside from that, this has been an intense one. So if you've enjoyed this, I think we'd all really appreciate your thoughts, either in our role play or just telling us that we did a good job and we're a good commander, even though bad things happen.
Good commander, even if she's mean.
Good commander, mean commander. because the thing that is always delightful is hearing your thoughts, and when you tell other people your thoughts, because we are nothing if not just desirous of good feedback or bad feedback. If you have regular feedback, it's like, oh, don't do that. Like, tell us.
Oh,
We might go no, but like at least then we know. And knowing is half the battle. The other half is killing farm equipment with your bare hands. I love you all very much. I'm emotionally compromised. But we have been the crew of the USS Iskandar. Thanks.
Bye.